What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people, and I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now, and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? I am out of the country. So I am down here in Mexico taking care of business. What's up to my friends and family? You know we never left. We never miss. We on top of it. We got a lot to cover today. So Liberation Day was yesterday. I hear a lot of conversation and chatter from people about Liberation Day, and I want to have that conversation. What's going on to my friends and family? Says I like the background of your room. This is a presidential right there. I'll give you a little bit of mini tour. So this is the living room area of my hotel. That's the bedroom. That is the entrance. This is the room. I'm at a table. That's outside. It's a pool down there. So, yeah, man, when you go out of town, you got to make sure that you're comfortable. So that is what is happening. Yes, 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 yes. So we are in Mexico. It's Mexico. It's like 80, 90 degrees here. So that's awesome. I can't complain about that. The one thing about Mexico is they have awesome weather and it's pretty awesome. So, yep, multiple bedrooms. Got to make sure that I keep Leslie with me and everything. And so everything is taken care of. Anyways, what's going on, friends? What's happening? Oh, y'all didn't know that out of the country hotel rooms can get bigger? They absolutely get bigger. You spend enough money, they'll give you anything that you want. Yeah. So what's happening, y'all? Y'all ready to discuss these tariffs? Y'all ready to talk about Kamala Harris? No jumper going broke. I'm comfortable. I got 8 hours of sleep last night. I have been working for 2 days straight. On the vlog that I drop on the Darth Anton channel today that you guys will see, you're going to see all of the travel, all of the working. On Wednesday, no, not Wednesday, Tuesday. So on Tuesday, I pretty much locked myself in the house. And then at 3 in the morning on Wednesday morning, 3 in the morning, that's when I went to the studio to pre-record the show that you guys watched yesterday. Shout out to everybody that watched the pre-record yesterday, the premiere, because I wanted to make sure that we never miss. And so it's no excuse for you guys not to hit. But I went to the studio at 3 in the morning. I never went to sleep. I never went to sleep on Tuesday going into Wednesday. Went to the studio at 3 a.m. Worked on some stuff, pre-recorded, so I was there for 4 hours. And then I left the studio a little after 7 a.m., went back to the crib, took a shower, headed straight to the airport, and then got over here to Mexico and then was right back at it. And I worked on the plane the whole time and all of that. So if you have your own business, if you are your own boss, don't be like, for all of you people that have a job and say you want to start your own business and stuff, It can be incredibly rewarding, but you can get out of it whatever you put into it. You can't be lazy. You can't be sitting there waiting for somebody to give something to you. I personally can't relate, and I don't understand when I see content creators or business people say, "Oh, we about to take a vacation," or "I'm gonna go ahead and miss." What do you mean? The biggest announcement of the entire world happened yesterday. Now, what if I would have took off and I wasn't paying attention, I wasn't tuned in, because you get that luxury when you work a regular job. You can have the luxury of, oh, I'm gonna take a PTO day, or I want to take a vacation day, or I'm feeling sick, I don't want to come in, or I feel like working from home today, all of that. You get that. You can do that when you know what I'm saying, work for somebody else or you work for a big corporation. That is a blessing. That is a luxury that most people don't understand that comes along with that. The flip side is you don't have the same stability, but you can make your own way. But you can't miss. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell people, oh man, you got to come back and check out what we got going on over here. No, you wasn't even available. You didn't give us no insight. You didn't break down what was happening with tariffs. You wasn't available for what was going on. Why would I say, oh man, I'm not going to be here. I'm not going to be available for the next week or two because I'm out of town or I'll get sick or something like that. You don't have that. You know what I'm saying? So it's pros and cons to it. Sometimes you got to do a 24, 48 hour no sleep in the studio at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Don't get no sleep. Still got to jump on a plane. Still got to do multiple plane rides and all of that. The flip side is that you ride first class and you get the rest and you have extra leg room and you get the bigger hotel rooms and all of that stuff. So, and you can write it off as a business expense if you are going there for business to create content and to also look for business opportunities. So it's a give and a take. You can't look at everything as a plus or a minus or a negative. You gotta take the good with the bad. But when I see content creators say stuff like, "Oh man, I'm about to take the day off," or or "Oh no, you know what? I'm going on vacation, so I'm gonna take a break." I don't understand it. I can't figure it out. It's a competition. It's always gonna be a competition. We got to run it up. So, anyways, that is what's happening with me. I am not like in Cancun or Tulum or nothing like that. I'm deep. I'm way down in Mexico. So shout out to everybody that's taking care of business and that's on top of things. Also, before we get started, I got a phone call yesterday, and you're gonna also see this on the blog. One of my tenants is moving out. This is the first time that a tenant has told me, "Yo, Anton, I got to move out of the one. I want to move out this summer." So she was on a month to month, probably for over the last 4 years. She's been a tenant with me for over 9 years. And again, you guys are going to see that conversation because there was an impromptu phone call while I was vlogging yesterday. You'll see it on the other channel, on the Darth Anton channel. And actually, she wasn't looking to move. She was looking to downsize because her kids had been raised in one of my properties and she loved it. She says she don't want to move, but it's a huge property. It's her and her husband, but it's 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms. She said, she was like, "Anton, do you have any availability?" Now, for those of you that have been following me, you know that I have 3 properties that I'm building. By the summertime, I have one that's coming available. So she's probably going to move over into that property because that property is 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, and it got a finished basement and it's brand new. So she'll be probably paying similar to exactly what she was paying, but then she's moving out of the other property, and that gives me an opportunity to renovate that one for the next tenant that comes in. So it's crazy. It's crazy to how everything is playing out and how you plan it. And for those of you that are a part of the Patreon, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. For those of you that are a part of the Patreon, Stock Club this weekend, Block Club next week, and we're going to go over all of the logistics, exactly how I vet for tenants, how I keep them in my properties for 9-10 years, and we're going to go from there. All right. So make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Best time to join the Patreon is the beginning of the month. We got Stock Club coming up. And make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. If you're here for the first time, just hit a like for the algorithm. If you've been here more than once, then make sure that you subscribe to the channel. It's no reason for you not to. You need to know when we go on. Carter needs 50% down payment for cabinets to place the order. Please call Troy to make the arrangement. Give me a second. We're going to get started with the show. 1 second. I just got to make this phone call.
Good morning.
Hey, Robert. I just got your email.
Oh, okay. I thought you were out of town or out of the country or somewhere.
That doesn't mean business stop for me. You know that.
Yeah, I always say no arrest for the self-employed, right?
Yeah, never. So you said that they're ready to order the cabinets?
Yeah.
When do they?
It doesn't happen today, but I mean, it takes about 3-4 weeks to get them. So just want to make sure we have them when we need them.
Okay.
We're getting close. I mean, as soon as we get power and I can get that house dried out and keep it dry, which should be hopefully by the weekend, we can get back on track with drywalling. So,
did you talk to the plumber? Because I was telling Rita that we needed the because she was giving me the two options between the generator and the sump pump. And I'm not as concerned about the cost, but I want the best available option so that I can ensure that long-term I don't have any problems with the property, once it's built out.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, and I told her that, I'm a one, if one's good, two's better kind of a guy,
Yeah. Should we do both?
Well, that's up to you. But like I say, if one system fails, you got a backup.
All right. Yeah, we can talk about that. As soon as you talk to the plumber about it, we can find that out.
Well, and I'm going to talk to Rick too, because he was going to be my next call this morning. So he was out of town last week. I didn't get a chance to talk to him. I texted him yesterday, and I kind of put a bug in his ear about it. So
okay,
I want to talk to him first, and I need to talk to plumber, and I need to talk to plumber about getting water temporary there too, because once we turn drywall, we need water for the paint.
When do they start drywalling?
As soon as we get electricity and we get our insulation inspected, which should be hopefully by next week.
Okay. All right.
And the weather had to break because if we don't get gas from consumers, we can't keep heating the house. So we need a decent temperature to do the mud.
Yeah, that's fine.
Drywall, because I gotta take a chance on that.
All right, I'll have Rita order, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'll do a little more diligence on the sump situation, but as soon as we get, Edison was supposed to have power there by tomorrow. So they said on or before the 4th.
Okay.
So when they took care of it, because I don't think that storm affected their scheduling, because that was all up north.
Yep. Okay.
But so that's where.
All right. Yeah, I'll have Rita take care of it.
Okay.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Oh, I sent you some money yesterday too.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to you, Robert.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get started with the show. I'm sorry, business never sleeps. We got to take care of it. Let me go ahead and acknowledge some of the cash apps and super chats to make sure that you guys get the recognition, because we never asked for it, but I always want to make sure that I acknowledge the people that support the platform. Shout out to Delwayne Rucker. I appreciate you, big dog, for the 20 ball. Mike, that dude, always been consistent, holding me down. Thank you to you guys for always supporting the platform. Let me read some of the super chats, and then we'll jump into the tariffs. EB Miles Davis says, good morning, AD. Thank you for the Patreon exclusive. Waiting for part 2. Keep dropping knowledge. Shout out to my bag chasers and my Patreon members that's making a lot of money with the information that we provide. Rahi Dash says, appreciate you, AD. Watched the pre-record yesterday. It didn't hit the same without you holding the chat accountable, but still enjoyed it. You don't miss. We got to do what we got to do. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you, Rahi. Brown Eyes in the building says, I'm part of the bag chasers, but I never have attended a live. I'm 62 and I own many properties and manage them with assistance. Now that I'm older, I'm thinking about a 1031 exchange. Is basically so you can defer taxes when you get rid of a property by basically rolling it over into something that's of equal value or greater. And so, for example, you may get rid of this property, but then you may already have another property, but you got to do it within a certain time frame. I can talk about that in the next block club. I'll add 1031 exchanges in there, along with exactly how you vet for certain tenants in order to ensure that you can rent to them for the next 10 years and you don't have a lot of turnover. I'll definitely add that. Shout out to Brown Eyes. Shout out to all of the bag chasers. I'll add that as a part of what we talk about I'll add that as a part of what we talk about inside of the Patreon. All right. Want to make sure that the Wi-Fi is good. Wi-Fi good? We good? Everything? Let me double check. Let me double check. Got to make sure that the Wi-Fi good before we start the show. Is my Wi-Fi acting up? Oh, okay, my Wi-Fi is good. We good. It's a little spotty, little glitches here and there. Well, we in another country. I'm sorry. What can I do? All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get started with the show. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Shout out to P. Shank. Says good morning, Anton and the Millionaire Morning Show. What up, P. Shank? What's up, baby? All right, let's go ahead and get started, y'all. So, first things first. Well, we gotta pray. We gotta pray. Lord, be with us today. Give us the information that we need in order to be successful. Bless people. Bless our people. Bless Americans. Bless American citizens. Also bless people that's in other countries that support us over here at the Millionaire Morning Show. We got bag chasers all over the world. We love you. We appreciate you. We ask for everything in Jesus' name. All right, let's go ahead and get started, y'all. One thing I like about America, we got the best Wi-Fi, that's for sure. Well, maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, Trump's Liberation Day tariffs. So yesterday, Trump announced that he announced the long-awaited tariffs, the worldwide tariffs that he had across multiple different countries, basically against the world. But it wasn't what we thought it was. We thought that it was going to be a blanket tariff against all countries. It wasn't. It shows you that they have been doing research and that they had been basically, going through and finding out exactly what countries is doing what. They did specific calculations and they broke it all the way down. And he did a press conference, but he also released a book, and we'll go through that because we're going to go through Canada's response. We're going to go through J.D. Vance's explanation of it. But he released basically a nutshell, a summary of exactly why we are doing these tariffs. And I'm going to share that with you guys, and then I'm going to try to break it down from a C student's perspective so that you can better understand exactly why we need tariffs inside of the United States of America. This was Trump's announcement in a general sense. It was an hour-long live stream or press conference, but this is Trump's announcements on what happened with the tariffs, and then I'm going to break it down for you guys.
A single shipyard in China now produces more ships every year than all of the American shipyards combined. Think of that. And it was a business that we used to dominate. We used to dominate it totally. In short, chronic trade deficits are no longer merely an economic problem. They're a national emergency that threatens our security and our very way of life. It's a very great threat to our country. And for these reasons, starting tomorrow, the United States will implement reciprocal tariffs on other nations. It's been a long time since we even thought of that.
So initially, we thought reciprocal tariffs were, if a country tariffs us back, then we're going to double it. Now, that does not mean that that's not true also. However, reciprocal tariffs, as Trump is explaining it in this press conference, means that he's going to tariff a country based off of how United States of America has been being taken advantage of over all of these decades, over all of your previous presidents, over all of the Biden administration, over all of the Obama administration, over all of the Clinton administration, over everybody. So he's saying that we've basically made the world rich, and we have. We have created the economic boom that is basically assisted China in becoming a world power. We have allowed for third world countries to take advantage of us and benefit off of us for decades. We have allowed for Europe to be able to import their cars or export their cars to the United States of America while not at the same time having a fair trade agreement and allowing for Americans to export their vehicles or their goods and services over into their state. And I was explaining to people yesterday in a nutshell that if you go over to go to these other countries, go and look at it, look at their economies. And I'm not just talking about the tourist destinations. Go over into these places and look at what these citizens are driving. Go into the towns, go into the cities, go and visit places outside of where people are on the resort and look at what is happening. Look at what they drive, look at the goods that they use, see how their culture is. They are interdependent on themselves while at the same time taking advantage of the United States of America. And I use Japan as the biggest example because Japanese automakers have always, since the 70s and the 80s, been making billions and billions, if not trillions of dollars off of American consumers. They don't drive American vehicles. They don't support American cars coming over. If you drive an American vehicle over in Japan, you are stunting. That's like, oh, you big dog, because you're willing to pay an egregious amount of money to then be able to drive that vehicle over there because it costs so much money to be able to buy a car that we take for granted. We'll say, oh, we don't care, whatever, it's just an American car. And then we value European, we value Japanese, we value Korean, we value all of these things. And we value everybody else's products. And we think that makes us special because we spending money. And don't get me wrong, I believe in capitalism. I believe in a free market, but I don't believe in being taken advantage of. I believe in us using each other, but I don't believe in being misused. So when you go over to Japan, you go over to Tokyo, you go over to these other countries, you go over to Europe, you go over to Amsterdam, you go over to these other places, they don't F with us like that. They F with our money. They F with our money. We are passport bros economically. You know what I'm saying? We mission at a cost, while we allow for everybody else to come into our country, take advantage of the American economic system, and then we subsidize them by giving them our tax dollars to feel comfortable because we've gotten so weak and we don't have a president, or we haven't had a president or legislators that actually stand up for America's first. And it don't mean that you are any, okay, here, let me break it down from this perspective. Let me break it down from this lens. For all of you people that want so bad to be accepted by people outside of the United States of America, because they're not bad. Remember when y'all was doing the whole Black Lives Matter things, even though y'all was being taken advantage of by a bunch of women that didn't even like men? The thing that y'all would say to us was, it doesn't mean that all lives don't matter, but we want to focus on Black people first right now. We need to make sure that we get, now y'all was misguided because of the reasons and all of the things that was going on, and y'all was tearing up your own neighborhoods, but the premise is the same. You said it's not that everybody else is not cool, but we want to make sure that we fix our own neighborhoods. We want to make sure that we get our own police reform. We want to make sure that we get you know what I'm saying, y'all was fighting for reparations and all of that. You wanted to focus on you, and you fought back against anybody that came in your way that didn't want to acknowledge Black Lives Matter. You made sure that white men and white women, make sure they was protesting on your behalf. You were out there doing the do. And when anybody said, no, all lives matters, you said, no, it doesn't mean that all lives don't matter, but we focus on getting ourselves right now. That's what you said. This is that on an economic scale, because your children, it's the reason why we said that the banks were too big to fail when we seen the economic collapse with the housing crisis in 2008, is because we don't make anything here anymore. And we subsidize other countries getting rich and taking advantage of us. And the reason that they were able to do it is because there were a whole lot of Democrats at the top. And this is the way to keep you on the Democratic plantation. They basically said, yo, the Clintons and all of that, hey, listen, guys, we want to be world peace. In reality, what they was doing was they was taking 50% off of the $1 billion that they would send over this country to the top. And then they was giving them the other $500 billion. They was giving that to them. And they was getting rich. That's why you see all of these senators and these legislators, they got these $100 million net worths. And you're like, how? How are they beating the S&P 500? How are they beating the people on Wall Street? Well, what do you think that they beating it by? Because they basically sold y'all short. But in order to maintain power, they have to make sure that you vote Democrat. Even though I have never seen a Black person, not one, benefit from a Democrat policy, not one in my lifetime. As a 42-year-old man, as I've seen these neighborhoods, as I've been born in Detroit, Michigan, as I've seen so many Black people continue to be a part of the Democratic plantation, I have never in my entire life, not once, seen Black people pull themselves up out of poverty based off of Democrat policies. I've seen people break up their families. I've seen people be on Section 8 forever. I've seen people continue to take advantage of Pell Grants. I've seen people go to jail as a result of you know what I'm saying, finessing the system. I've seen crack and drugs and all of that stuff infiltrate y'all cities and y'all neighborhoods. I've seen white flight. I have never, not one time, and we continue to tie ourselves to it for whatever reason, but I have not once in my life seen anybody pull themselves up as a result of Democrat policies. Not one. I've seen cities get taken advantage of. I've seen legislators steal from the school system. I've seen Detroit, which was the blackest city in the United States of America, file for bankruptcy. I've seen mayors steal. I've seen governors steal. I've seen the school system and superintendents continue to make y'all schools go down. Never, not once have I ever seen any policy that has pulled black people or anybody that votes Democrat. I've never seen any policy that gets y'all out of poverty, but y'all can't wait to give y'all tax dollars. You know what they give you? They give you higher taxes. You know why you got to pay higher taxes? Because other countries are basically subsidizing themselves, pulling themselves up out of your tax dollars, and they send all of their people over here so that they can send the money back to their countries. People come over here and then make a bunch of money, and you know where they send it? They take care of their parents and they subsidize the economies back home that they came from. They send all of their money back home. That is a fact. They come over here, take advantage of your school system, take advantage of your tax dollars, take advantage of your economies, take advantage of your jobs, take advantage of your opportunities, and bust down your women and send all of the money back home. How are you supporting Democrat policies that don't work for you?
We used to think about it a lot. We didn't think about it for many decades, and you see what's happened. For nations that treat us badly, we will calculate the combined rate of all their tariffs, non-monetary barriers, and other forms of cheating. And because we are being very kind, we're kind people, very kind. You're not so kind when you got ripped off with your salaries. My auto worker friends and my Teamster friends and all of the unions that typically voted Democrat, they're not voting Democrat anymore because worker, whether union or non-worker, they're for the Republicans now. That's what happened. But we will charge them approximately half of what they are and have been charging us. So the tariffs will be not a full reciprocal. I could have done that, yes, but it would have been tough for a lot of countries. We didn't want to do that. I'd like to see the chart if you have it. Could you bring it up, Howard? This is our great Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. Thanks, Howard. So if you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So 67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to bring, it's very windy out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So 67%. So we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset? They will be because we never charge anybody anything. But now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You know, you think of European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%. So we're charging them essentially half. Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. The problem is they charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% tariff. Taiwan, where they took all of our computer chips and semiconductors. We used to be the king, right? We were.
Do you know why we were sending so much money over to Taiwan? That wasn't one that was highlighted during all of these times that we had Biden in office and Kamala Harris as the vice president. A lot of people are not familiar with it. When we were negotiating, for example, when Kamala Harris would say stuff like, yeah, we had a border bill. Well, they tied it to the Department of Homeland Security, which was directly tied to, our border and our immigration. And so what they did was they were leveraging the fact that we had a lot of illegal migrants coming into the country, and they were trying to say that we couldn't stop illegal migration until we had Congress pass monies that also gave resources to Israel, Taiwan, and then obviously Ukraine. So Ukraine was the big marketing pitch. Israel, and that's why you're seeing a lot of these protests, which I don't necessarily understand why we continue to support Israel, but that's just my own personal opinion. I'm objectively questioning why conservatives and Republicans continue to support Israel, but that's just, again, that's my own personal opinion. But also in that was Taiwan. Taiwan, we were basically having a financial and economic proxy war against China because Taiwan had become the semiconductor chip production powerhouse of the world. That is what they are known for, is producing semiconductor chips. So we need to make sure that we bring all manufacturing, including semiconductor, steel, automotive, aluminum, and every other product that we sell back to our own states so that we can stop giving money to subsidize another country to prevent them from being taken over by China. That's really what it is. People would always hear, oh man, we got to give money to Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. And nobody ever questioned, well, why are we giving money over to Taiwan? Because Taiwan was a semiconductor chip powerhouse that we would need in order to continue to push our economy forward from a technological perspective. That's why we were giving money to Taiwan. Your tax dollars going to other places to subsidize them to prevent them from doing business with another country because we didn't make things inside of the United States of America. That's why. So then it became tied up in border bills and all of the stuff that had nothing to do with immigration into our country. And this is how politicians finesse you, because while they're out there fundraising and protesting and saying F Trump, in reality, what they're doing is saying, fill my pocket so that we can sell United States of America short. And this is why they have the ability to tariff us, because tariffs, or the true cost of doing business with another country, which is not directly only tied to tariffs in itself, is also the true cost of us subsidizing another economy. And so when they did these calculations, what you see, which it pains me to know that a lot of people, most people can't even read past the third grade level. It pains me that people will sit here inside of my chat or in my comment wrong and F Trump and all of that, when they can't even read or type it past a third grade level. They will debate you, but don't even own economics work inside of their own household. They don't have $1,000 if an emergency happened on their own soil in their own backyard, or if they got a flat tire. But they will sit here and debate you back and forth. Don't have a pot to piss in. Don't truly even understand math, never passed algebra, never passed calculus, never even took statistics, but they will sit here and tell you, oh, no, it's not because of tariffs for other countries. You don't really understand the true cost of doing business with somebody else. And so when they break these calculations down, China, the EU, Vietnam, Taiwan, Japan, India, South Korea, Thailand, when they break this down and they start to have a conversation and they say, listen, this is what it truly costs us. This is why we're at a trade deficit. This is why they're getting rich, because we're subsidizing their economy. Why are you against America and you're for them and you've never even been there? Why are you not America first? Why are you so culturally ignorant? It's because you've been programmed from a talking point from Democrats and people that are telling you to vote blue because you're just a part of the 78 and the 92%, but you are against your own children's future and your future. Want to know why you so poor and why you can't get a job right out of high school anymore, and why they telling you got to go to college and you can't just go to college for liberal arts anymore. You got to go to college for a STEM degree, and you got to take out a bunch of student loans, and then hopefully you make enough money to be able to pay it back, and you don't get laid off, and you can't necessarily get a job with the federal government to subsidize your lifestyle anymore. Is because your parents did what you doing right now, and they voted blue, and they don't support America. Your parents and your grandparents sold you short, and now you gonna sell your kids short. And this is, in my opinion, the true definition of generational trauma. You are passing down your bad voting habits onto your children because you don't even understand that you have to make a sacrifice so that your kids can be able to thrive. Your children should be able to get a good job right out of high school to support their family, give them a white picket fist and be able to raise their family, 2-parent household,
4 kids and be able to be okay. But you can't do that no more because you're so busy being stupid. You're voluntarily ignorant, and you want to have a conversation about how tariffs are hurting us. No, tariffs are killing you, and that's why you don't have no jobs. That's why we don't make nothing. That's why you can't have no factories. That's why you can't get no job out of high school. The reason why there's a huge divide between the rich and the poor is because our Democrats sold out the middle class. This is why we have to have a huge transformational president that comes in and say, all right, listen, no more giving it away for the low. No more giving it away for the low. We can't do that anymore. We got to have transformational change because we got to drag your monkey ass to the promised land, even though you don't know what's best for you. If you read the Bible, if you read study the children of Israel, they did the same thing. God took them out of. Make sure that you do what I tell you to do because it's going to be the land of milk and honey and your children are going to benefit from it. And you know what they did? At the end of the day, you know what they did? They started worshiping other guys that had nothing to do with anything that was beneficial for them. And then none of them that got taken out of slavery, none of them that was under Pharaoh's order, none of them could see the land of milk and honey. He had to completely erase them because they were all toxic and cancerous and had all been indoctrinated by the people that came before them to want to go back into slavery. We was better under Pharaoh's orders. We was better getting our backs whipped in. That is the exact thing that you see from Americans today and why you need a leader to have transformational change to drag your ass back to the promised land so that your children hopefully can get the land of milk and honey and they can kill you off because you wasn't no good to us anyway. That's what I conflated. That's what I equated to. When I read the Bible, I'm looking at the same type of people that's voting against their best interests and want to go back on the Democratic plantation and want to go back under Pharaoh's rule because you don't want to trust that God is going to take you to the place that you're supposed to be. That's literally what I see happening in the United States of America. So many people are willing to sell us out and they don't care anything about their own children.
Everything. We had all of it. Now we have almost none of it, except the biggest company is coming in. We're going to end up with almost 40%. Lee Zeldin's working to get their approvals. And it's an amazing company. Mr. Wei of one of the great companies of the world, actually, they're coming in from Taiwan and they're going to build one of the biggest plants in the world, maybe the biggest for that. But 64%, we're going to charge them 32%. Japan, very, very tough.
Don't drive y'all
great
cars.
People.
They don't even drive y'all cars.
And again, I don't blame the people for doing it. I think they're very smart in doing it. I blame the people that sat right in that Oval Office, right over there, right behind the Resolute desk or whichever desk they chose. Japan, 46%. They would charge us 46% and much higher for certain items like cars, little items like cars. 46%, we're charging them 24%. India, very, very tough, very, very tough. The prime minister just left. He's a great friend of mine.
Somebody
but I said you're
Anton,
a friend.
You said you voted blue before Trump too. I did. That's not a secret. Absolutely, I voted blue because I was an idiot too. I had to break out of the matrix and ultimately open up my mind and say, wait a minute. If exactly what I'm doing in the way that I'm raised in our value system and the ways that we think, and we don't want open borders and I don't like men and women's bathrooms and stuff like that, aligns with conservative values, why am I still believing in what my family and what my church taught me to vote blue? It took some deep programming. It was some hard lessons that I had to learn that helped me to realize that now that I look back at my own community and my own family and my own church and all of this stuff that I was raised in, I'm like, man, they still stuck. They still stuck in that mentality. You're not the neighborhood that you were raised in. Just because you was raised in a hood don't mean that you still got to have a hood mentality. It take deprogramming. You gotta make sure that you do the work to get yourself out of that stupid mentality so that you can thrive and you can give your children a better chance than you had. You don't have to be your hood. You don't have to be your family. You don't have to be the thing that you was raised to believe. You don't have to be the party that you used to vote for. It's okay to change and be better. When I was a child, I thought like a child. When I was an idiot, I thought like an idiot. But then I became a man and I put away childish things. You're supposed to evolve and get better as you get older. If you're still the same idiot that you was because you keeping it real from the things you used to do that was stupid, you're an idiot. You're supposed to get better as you get older. That's why you see most people that as they evolve, they turn to being Republican. They turn to being conservative. They don't turn to be blue. People that are successful, that get more success, that grow, that evolve, that becomes more success, they don't go and then switch over to being liberal. They switch to being conservative because they realize I was an idiot.
Friend of mine, but you're not treating us right. They charge us 52%. You have to understand, we charge them almost nothing for years and years and decades. And it was only 7 years ago when I came in, we started with China, charged them. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China in tariffs. And they understood, honestly. President Xi understood. He said, look, I understand. And the other countries, and they all understand. We're going to have to go through a little tough love, maybe, but they all understand. They're ripping us off, and they understood it. Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe. He was a fantastic man. He was unfortunately taken from us, assassination. But I went to him and I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. A trade is not fair. And he said, I know that. I know that. And he was a great gentleman. He was a fantastic man, but he understood immediately what I was talking about. I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. He said, I know that. And we worked out a deal, and it would have been a much better deal. But frankly, there were many years left on the deal that was made previous to my getting there. But it was something. If you look at Switzerland, 61% to 31%, Indonesia, Malaysia, Cambodia. Oh, look at Cambodia, 97%. We're going to bring it down to 49. They made a fortune with the United States of America. United Kingdom, 10%, and we'll go 10%. So we'll do the same thing. South Africa, 60%, 30%, and they've got some bad things going on in South Africa. You know, we're paying them billions of dollars, and we cut the funding because a lot of bad things are happening in South Africa. The fake news ought to be looking at it. They don't want to report it. Brazil, 10%, 10%, Bangladesh.
So essentially, Trump went through, in a nutshell, Trump went through and he actually broke down exactly why we're still being nice people to other people, even though we're subsidizing their economies. But we have all the leverage. We have all the leverage. They do business with us. They take advantage of our consumers. Shout out to everybody that continues to use Temu and Shein to get your cheap products and your cheap items. Shout out to everybody that continues to subsidize your bad lifestyle with products you don't even need in places that you don't even rock with, and you're selling your own people short with the American economy. Congratulations to you guys. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're gonna move over to the next part of the show. Let's see what we got here. Jacquel says, greetings and blessings, glory given and all to God. Shout out to Jacquel. Jerome Gray says, keep it up, Trump. Blue wave, coming soon, LOL. Hey, shout out to all of the grown men that still type LOL and they super chats and they text messages, but I appreciate you, Jerome Gray, for the 2-ball. Chad for Moore says, just buy American-made products. It's not that complicated. They don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. Brambo says, talk that factual-ish, Anton. I appreciate it. Chris Cunningham says, did you see the folks in Louisiana all happy that they voted against the no-state tax and try to tell 50 Cent to stay out of our state politics? Mika covered it. Shout out to Mika. Yep, I covered it yesterday, or was it the day before yesterday? What up, Jerry says, we're America first on all issues except for Israel. Shout out to Jerry. Gurkha Legend says, just subbed. Good stuff, Anton. Thank you for rocking out with me. Chris Cunningham says, slaves. Will to Win says they need to research what happens when a country's currency fails. James Reed says, I may not be a bag chaser, but we are like-minded. People still in love with the Pharaoh's rule. Trump started to break the matrix, and people can't accept the truth, love the content. Shout out to James Reed. On-Chain Ace says this is a generational opportunity to get good entries in stocks, but all people want to do is complain. Nope, not everybody is complaining. Some of us see this as a buying opportunity. That's reserved for Stock Club. We're going to talk about that this weekend. Josh says, so I guess all of the countries utilizing tariffs are putting their citizens under duress. In California, we applaud new taxes thrown on us by our state government, but think when they hear tariff talks. And other states have voted down, oh no, we don't want tax relief. We don't want tax relief because they think that somehow, some way, somebody else is benefiting off of the fact that you continue to pay more taxes. Ignorant, 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 ignorant. Anyways, JD Vance, hold on, let me switch this over really quickly. I'm sorry. JD Vance gave his take, what he had to say about it. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock out.
President and Vice President J.D. Vance, thanks so much for joining Fox and Friends this morning.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
So the last time we had a one-on-one was in your house. You weren't Vice President. Yeah,
right.
you were auditioning. You were the only candidate that said if you didn't get selected, you would be disappointed. Well, you got accepted. So congratulations, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you.
Let's talk about some of the issues that matter to the American people.
Sure.
And it's the president's new tariff policy. And when I think about what he got elected on is bring the cost down for people, but also bring manufacturing back to the country.
That's right.
These are gonna kind of hit each other, right? Explain to us how you get manufacturing here, but also get the cost down for the American people.
Well, if you go back a little bit, Lawrence, remember during the first Trump administration, everybody said that Trump's tariffs were going to be inflationary back then. What actually happened? We had 1.5% inflation. We had the fastest growing economy in a generation, and we had the beginning of a manufacturing renaissance in the United States of America. Then, of course, we had 4 terrible years of the Biden administration.
Which one of the good things that Biden did was he left Trump's tariffs in place against other countries like China. Here's my question for all of you Democrats and you liberals that watch the show and you actually don't agree with what we got going on and why tariffs are good and why bringing manufacturing back to the United States of America is good and why we not letting other countries take advantage of us is good and why we don't let illegal migrants come into this country is good. For all of you that are against it because you're against America, you're against Trump, you're against your own children's future. Explain to me this. And I want to hear from y'all, same ones that's always typing inside of the chat. Explain to me why Biden would leave in place Trump's tariffs against other countries like China from his first term. Why would Biden do that? Why wouldn't he remove the tariffs if they were so bad for the country? And the only reason that he didn't create more tariffs because he realized that Trump was doing the right thing and it actually benefited us, even though Trump knew how to manage the economy more effectively. And that's why we had low inflation, no new wars, so on and so forth. Why didn't Biden remove the tariffs that he had put in place from the first term of Trump's first presidential term? Somebody explain it to me. If tariffs were so bad, why didn't Biden remove the tariffs that Trump had put in place in his first term? And the reason why Democrats didn't talk about it, the reason why they didn't talk about it on the campaign trail, the reason why Biden didn't answer the question when Trump and Biden debated in their first presidential debate, the reason why they just skipped over that question and he just pivoted to something else is because it was good. And he couldn't put more tariffs on other countries because it would then feed into the idea that the Republicans were right. If it was so bad, why did Biden leave in place the tariffs that Trump had put in during his administration? He could have did an executive order on day one, the same way that he opened up the borders as soon as he got in office. As far as immigration is concerned, why didn't he do an executive orders to remove the tariffs that Trump had put in place in the first term? How come y'all don't ask that question? Somebody answer that question.
But I think it's useful for all of us to step back and ask ourselves, what has the globalist economy gotten the United States of
Somebody
America?
said, when did
And
Biden say it was bad? He never said it was bad. Y'all saying it's bad right now. Biden actually agreed with Trump, but he couldn't do it in front of y'all faces because it would then show that Trump was right. It wasn't that Biden thought that it was bad. It was that Trump was right. And y'all keep saying it's bad, but for some reason Biden left it in place. Why did he do that if it was so bad for y'all?
The answer is fundamentally it's based on 2 principles: incurring a huge amount of debt to buy things that other countries make for us. And to make it a little bit more crystal clear, we borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture. That is not a recipe for economic prosperity. It's not a recipe for low prices, and it's not a recipe for good jobs in the United States of America. For 40 years, we have gone down that pathway. We've seen closing factories. We've seen rising inflation. We've seen the cost of housing so high that most Americans can't afford to buy a home right now. President Trump is taking this economy in a different direction. He ran on that.
He promised it, and now he's delivering. And yes, this is a big change. I'm not going to shy away from it, but we needed a big change, Lawrence. We cannot keep going down the Joe Biden globalist pathway where we have $2 trillion of peacetime debt and deficits. We have manufacturing disappearing. That is not working for Americans. We've got to take this country in a different direction.
Mr. Vice President, there does seem to be a disconnect. You see Wall Street in the media and the markets, and they're freaking out right now.
Yep.
But then I look at those workers that were in the Rose Garden yesterday, and they're celebrating. I think about all the diners that I've done across the country, and all these businesses saying, we've lost manufacturing here, and they're celebrating the move. What is the disconnect between the market and the people, those workers that are cheering this on right now?
Well, I think on one hand, frankly, a lot of people have gotten rich from American jobs moving overseas, but American workers have not gotten rich. And frankly, American companies have not gotten wealthy from the increasing growth of foreign competitors manufacturing overseas. They, as the president says, Lawrence, these foreign companies, they charge us ridiculous tariffs. They engage in a lot of non-tariff practices like currency manipulation. That has been awful for Main Street in the United States of America. It's meant those diners, their customers don't have jobs anymore. It meant those great steel mills, those great auto plants have closed down and their workers have been laid off. What I saw yesterday in the Rose Garden was incredible enthusiasm because a lot of those workers, they've been working hard for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, young and old, were in the Rose Garden yesterday. They've never had a president who stood up for their jobs and stood up for American prosperity. They finally see something has shifted. There were Democrats out there, Republicans. There were union and non-union workers alike. They know this is a big change, but we need a big change in this country because what we've done, what we did under the Biden administration, it just wasn't working.
Somebody in the chat said, how was your 401k today? Let me ask you a question. When do you plan to draw from it? When do you plan to draw from it? 25, 30 years from now? Your 401k is going to boom more than ever before. You'll be thanking Trump long after he's gone. Most of y'all don't even max out on your 401k because I know because of the coaching calls. When do you plan to draw down from it? You know what I see this as? I see this as the biggest buying opportunity of my lifetime. The thing that I wish, I pray to God that I'd have the opportunity because markets is cyclical and there's always going to be a correction. Listen, from in 2008, I said, man, I cannot believe I missed this buying opportunity. This is going to make people that have cash and people that have resources get filthy rich. I cannot wait. I couldn't wait for it because we anticipated this. We're going to get it going down and we're going to get it going back up. This is the biggest buying for the people that know. Do you think that I'm panicking even a little bit? Do you think that the people that got resources that's getting to it is panicking even a little bit? Bro, the rest people say, oh my God, I can't believe it. I know that they ain't got no money in the market. I know that they ain't got no resources. I know that they ain't getting to it. But the people with an abundance mindset, that dollar cost average, that don't look at what's happening today, but look at what's going to happen 10 years from now, they are salivating. They can't wait. They cannot wait to try to take advantage of what is happening today. Salivating, drooling at the mouth, gonna get filthy rich.
So, Mr. Vice President, I know a lot of MAGA folks, a lot of Americans that are cheering the president on, especially when he takes it to other countries.
Sure.
They feel like we've been screwed for a long time.
Yep.
But I also know people that come from our background
Are we back yet? Hold on, let me back there. Let me get this back up.
You know how I grew up.
I know.
I grew up in a family.
All right, I had to switch my connection to make sure that we'll be able to continue to run this up because this connection from the hotel is not that great. This is one of the reasons why I'm using this platform right now. But it looks like we back now. Let's continue.
That often did live paycheck to paycheck. And we know a lot of Americans are worried. So we are fighting very hard to bring prices down. We're going to have the biggest deregulation in the history of this country. We're doing a lot of things and already have done a lot of things to lower the cost of energy. You heard the president mention this yesterday. Eggs, when we came in, were at a 10-year high, and all of a sudden they've dropped 60% just in the 2 months of the Trump administration. What I'd ask folks to appreciate here is that we are not going to fix things overnight. Yeah. Joe Biden left us, this is not an exaggeration, Lawrence, with the largest peacetime debt and deficit in the history of the United States of America, with sky-high interest rates. You don't fix that stuff overnight. We know people are struggling. We're fighting as quickly as we can to fix what was left to us, but it's not going to happen immediately. But we really do believe that if we pursue the right deregulation, we pursue those energy cost-reducing policies, yes, people are going to see it in their pocketbook. They're also going to benefit from the fact that foreign countries can't take advantage of us anymore. That means their jobs are going to be more secure.
I don't think you can talk about this, the tariffs, and not talk about the tax cuts as well that we're expecting. Is this to offset some of the cuts that we plan on expecting? Will this be a permanent measure, or are we thinking when it comes to the scoring of this bill, we're going to be able to get cuts as a result of this?
I wouldn't think of tax cuts as a way to offset the tariffs. Here's the way that I think about it is, again, for 40 years, we've had an economy that rewards people who ship American jobs overseas and raises taxes on American workers, and we're flipping that on its head. We're going to cut taxes for American workers and for American companies that build here. We're going to make it harder to ship American jobs overseas. It's a total shift in the way that we've done economic policy in the United States of America, but it was necessary. So yeah, we're going to cut your taxes. You're going to have more money in your pocket, and that's of course going to help you deal with the cost of inflation, but that's not about offsetting the tariffs. They work together. We want to penalize people for shipping our jobs overseas. We want to reward hardworking Americans. It's all part of the same policy.
And I don't understand why that's a bad thing. Some Democrat need to tell me, why is it a bad thing to make it more difficult for a country to take advantage of other opportunities outside of the United States of America and selling products back here? So if you have a company that, let's say you work for a manufacturer, let's say you work for a tractor company, let's say you make big tractors, or you make equipment for farmers, or you make tables, or whatever it is that you do, you work at the furniture store, whatever. Why are we rewarding bad behavior? One of the things that I hear people say on a regular basis is they say stuff like, I hate when I call into a call center and it's somebody over in India, or it's somebody over in China, or it's somebody over in Europe. Y'all have been complaining about that. I want a real person in America that understands me. I want, you know what I'm saying, somebody that's here that gets it. So we are now penalizing companies that get rid of American jobs and lay off people so that they can then hire more people inside of the United States of America to fill the positions that we know we need, because you guys say that you want more jobs, more opportunities, and we need to make sure that these towns, so we, not only that, we penalize them for getting rid of Americans and hiring foreigners. Now, on top of that, we're rewarding them for bringing more jobs inside of the United States of America. And y'all look at that as a bad thing. You look at that as a bad thing. Okay. Just trying to understand you.
I want to get
to because nobody on the left has been able to explain to me how they benefit from what has been happening over the last 4 years. How are you more successful but you've been complaining about all the fact that there ain't no jobs. And I did a whole month of streams on this platform where people were complaining that there is no jobs, and I'm sitting out resumes, and so we now incentivizing companies to bring more jobs, and we're penalizing them for getting rid of Americans and laying them off. And you complaining about that.
some other news because there were some reports that came out that Elon Musk is leaving. Now, of course, the president had already said he was only going to be here for a temporary basis.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Doge will continue after Elon Musk. Will he still be an advisor to you and the president? I know y'all have a great relationship. Tell us about it.
Well, first of all, that report I saw was total fake news. Yeah. Elon came in and we said, we need you to make government more efficient. We need you to shrink the incredible, vast bureaucracy.
Somebody said our products are cheaper. What products is it exactly that you're looking for that you need to send American jobs overseas and that you get a cheaper product for it? Somebody tell me. Somebody says our products is cheaper, AD. Okay, what products is it that you need that's going to help you live a better life that you can justify sending American jobs overseas for? Tell me. I'm curious. How many more Temu outfits do you need? How much more fake off-brand Lysol do you need to buy? How many Dollar Tree plants can you buy? Tell me what product that you're looking for that you think you need that justifies you sending jobs overseas. What do you need? Somebody said iPhones, AD. Fam, so you need an iPhone 16 Plus because y'all was just complaining. You can go and get you a Galaxy, an iPhone SE or whatever for well under $800, $900, under $600, $700. So you're telling me that is going to change your life so that you can buy a cheaper iPhone? What products are you looking for? You need another TV? Is that what it is? What do you want? Cheaper rubber bands? Cheaper ketchup? What is it that you guys need that you are saying that you need cheaper products of that's going to change your life? I don't see anybody saying anything in there that actually makes sense. Y'all just talking. You're just talking. What do you need? I don't see anybody saying nothing. What other products that you need? I need a cheaper mop. My vacuums. You buy 3 vacuums, you probably need 3 vacuums in your lifetime. In your lifetime, you probably need 3 vacuums. You'll buy 3 vacuums in your entire life. What products is it that you're saying that you need that will make your life so much better that you need from China and Indonesia? Y'all just talking. We need cheaper products. We need the hockey puck to be able to charge the back of our iPhone. You just talking, family. We so programmed. We're so ignorant. We're so stupid. I like glasses. My drinking glasses need to be cheaper. Wasteful and talking.
That thwarts the will of the American people, but also costs way too much money. And we said that's going to take about 6 months. And that's what Elon signed up for. But of course, he's going to continue to be an advisor. And by the way, the work of Doge is not even close to done. The work of Elon is not even close to done. You look at all of the fraudulent grants that they found. You look at people who are 150 years old, who are fraudulently collecting Social Security payments. You see our Social Security system, 40% of the people who are calling in are actually committing fraud. That means the 60% who need their Social Security checks are waiting in line. Doge has got a lot of work to do. And yeah, that work's going to continue after Elon leaves. But fundamentally, Elon is going to remain a friend and an advisor of both me and the president. And he's done a lot of good things. People don't realize how vast and uncontrolled the bureaucracy was. We've started to chip away at it, but there's a lot of work to do. It's not going to happen all in 6 months. It's going to take a long and committed effort.
Tell us about the news when it comes to TikTok. It looks like the president is going to announce maybe today some proposal. Maybe America owns 50% of TikTok. A private investor will own the other part. Is that going to happen today?
So I don't want to get ahead of any presidential announcements here.
I'm
but
going to slow
what
that down. I'm going to slow that down. We're going to stop right there because hopefully that's what our live stream is going to be about tomorrow, as far as the fate of these social media platforms that Trump saved once before. And of course, he's going to continue to put Americans first, but we'll get there. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to continue on with the show. Y'all are so corny. We need cheaper belts. Shut up. I just be talking. They just be getting into it and saying anything, and they not even talking about nothing that's relevant. They just talk just to talk. And most of the time when you see these people talking like this, it's a talking point from another liberal or from some kind of politician that got their talking points from somebody that wrote their speech. They literally just talking. We need cheaper blinds. Man, shut up, bro. You just talking. Ain't even saying nothing. Just moving your mouth. Jersey Money Grubber says, I always tell people to check out Ross Perot's old debates. Yeah, he was spot on. Town halls from the early 90s. He was the only presidential candidate that back then who saw NAFTA coming from for the middle class, and he wasn't shy about saying it. Ross Perot was really good. He probably should have been president. I was watching BBC the other day. These countries are going to have to rely on their own consumers now, and they're not confident at all. That's because they're getting taken advantage of by the Chinese government. That might be a deeper dive. Israel get more money than 17 states collectively from tax dollars. Yeah, and I don't understand it personally, Texas grown. That's one thing that I truly don't understand. Guilty Gunner says, God's warning his children through the Holy Spirit, we are going to see the biggest stock markets crash. Apparently you didn't live through the late 80s. Apparently you didn't see what was happening for the 2000 market crash. Apparently you wasn't alive in 2008. Apparently you didn't read about the Great Depression. Listen, I think you probably need to get your Holy Spirit checked out. That's not the Holy Spirit talking to you. That's some other spirit. Gary says, what's good, Anton? I have a friend who is a Democrat who stands on bashing every Trump policy implemented, including tariffs. It's mind-boggling. You need better friends, Gary. Christopher Mayberry says, just received the paperwork for my gunsmithing LLC in Texas. While my family members complain about Trump and Musk, I'm continuing to run it up. Get that bag. Chris Cunningham says, stop explaining to these N-words. They gonna learn today and they gonna wish they invested. Everybody always, that's that Fenty spirit, facts. Everybody always wishing that they had it. Man, if I had it back in the day, I would do it differently. You didn't. Claudia Scheinbaum need to call Elon Musk for Starlink. David Simpson Jr. says, people say the rich get richer and the poor get poorer for the poor. This is the opportunity. They're not going to take advantage of it. They're going to be sitting there complaining and voting. John Deere would have been in Mexico if Trump didn't threaten massive tariffs. Facts. That's 100% facts. Aaron Good says, I argued this with my dad about Harley Davidson moving their plant overseas. And I visited the Harley Davidson headquarters. I believe it was up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The average American doesn't care what it takes. They just want more for less. It's a shame. And I bet you your dad don't even buy Harley Davidsons. FBA says, you talk like you're the most righteous alive. I might be. You don't even have a profile photo. Your Black Panther FBA logo on whatever this is crooked. Is moved too far over to the right and set it to the left. You need to fix your logo that you stole from Google. Mark the Guardian says they need cheaper wigs and weaves from China. Rock says, I don't need anything, AD. That's what the Dems would say. American jobs are good. Elizabeth Williams says, I enjoy listening to you, AD. You are refreshingly honest. Thank you. And they don't like that because I've made a name for myself going against the grain from the thing that everybody wants you to say, and I'm going to say what I really believe. Mr. Lai says, show me y'all D-Wade sneakers since y'all love China so much. Terrell LMAO says, are we forgetting that $22 billion farmer bailout as a result of Trump's last trade war? Retaliatory tariffs against farmers increase costs at the grocery store. Interesting. Corey P. says, is it possible that Democrats can't undo what is being done whenever they get back in office? Yeah, but they're not going to get back in office. And if they was going to undo it, then how come they didn't remove the tariffs? The only thing that they undid when Biden got in office was the immigration policies to get people from being over here in the first place. They can undo anything that they want. But they didn't the first time. The only thing that they undid is the thing that y'all complained about. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's continue on with the show. So Canada reacted. Canada's Premier Doug Ford reacted, and he gave his thoughts on what was going on with the tariffs. And let's see if they're going to retaliate against the United States of America.
Joining us now is Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario. Thank you so much for joining the show tonight. Premier Ford, first off, your reaction to these new tariffs announced by President Trump.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, Lindsay. You know, I was cautiously optimistic. We have to get more into the details. I was cautiously optimistic because we weren't on the list. You know, you had the 2-page list. We weren't on there. We just want to continue building a strong relationship with our closest friends and allies.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney has vowed to respond with retaliatory tariffs. What might those look like?
Well, let's take a look at the complete list and really understand it. It wasn't 100% clear on the press conference when he talked about all the countries. I didn't see Canada on the list. I just want to build a strong AMCAN fortress, American Canadian fortress, 2 strongest countries in the world, safest countries, most prosperous. That's what we would like to see, and continue on our incredible relationship over 200 years.
It sounds like to me, and I could be off, but y'all bring me back to the front of the congregation. It sounds like they realize that they've been doing us dirty and taking advantage of us for a long time. And now he's taking a more relaxed tone and a more understanding perspective as to whether or not they want to actually retaliate or they want to stand down and understand why we're doing what we're doing. It don't look like that they being tough no more. I remember when they first started having this conversation and they started going back about it and all of that. Now it's a lot more, you know what? We just want to understand. We want to build a strong American fortress. I was vlogging earlier today, and it's on the video that I released this morning on the Anton Daniels channel. And I ran into a woman here that was in Canada. And she was so, she was looking at me and she was looking at me vlog, and then she waved or whatever. And I stopped. It was towards the end of the video. And I said, "Where are you from?" She was a pretty girl too. And she said, "I'm from Canada." And I said, "What do you think about what's going on with Canada and the United States of America with these tariffs?" And she was like, "I just think it's sad." And that's it. She said she just think it's sad. Canadians understand that you guys have benefited from the United States of America for a long time, a very, very long time. Absolutely, you've benefited from us. And so all we looking to do is for y'all to understand and join again. Listen, it's better this way. It's better for you guys. It's better for the world that America fixes what we have going on, because we are the ones that drive the economy throughout the whole world. I remember when the housing crisis hit in 2008 and everything went down. The entire world went into a recession because the United States went into a recession. When we get rich, you benefit. When you take advantage of us, we got to hit back. We got to fix America first. We cannot keep thinking that what's good for us is not going to be good for you. Doug Ford looks like he's taking a more relaxed approach to this thing, so that they're going to go back and figure it out, because you don't want to be our enemy. He just wants to build a stronger America-Canadian relationship, right?
Senator Rand Paul, who co-sponsored a bill to essentially block President Trump's tariffs on Canada, said that he thinks tariffs on trade between U.S. and Canada will threaten America with a recession. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I agree with Senator Paul, and I appreciate his courage. I always said right from day one, a tariff on Canada is a tax on Americans, and that's as clear as day. We're so integrated our supply chains, not just with auto, but other areas.
President Trump, as you know, referred to today as Liberation Day, the day that the American industry was reborn, but you've called it Termination Day. What did you mean by that? Well,
just similar to Senator Paul, a lot of people would lose their jobs if inflicts a tremendous amount of tariffs on his largest customer in the world. We do more trade than Japan and South Korea, along with UK and France combined. So I've always said, Lindsay, that we're stronger together.
They're looking to bolster their relationship with the United States of America because they are facing pressure from other countries and tariffs that is happening against them. And they in their own tariff war. See, what people don't understand, because we live in a silo of what we think America is, what people don't understand is that these other countries are fighting each other too. And they are using American resources to bolster what they have while they're also trying to fight other countries and get a position in this global war that we have, this economic war, this global economic war that we have. I was reading an article on a plane yesterday, and it was saying how I believe it was Malaysia and India and several other countries that were suffering as a result of China continuing to push their products into the worldwide markets. China didn't just push their products into the United States of America. China helped themselves get rich off the US. And in turn, they are trying to take some of the pressure out of the real estate bubble that we've discovered over the past couple of years. And the way that they do that is they're continuing to subsidize other countries by bribing the leaders and say, hey, we'll build high-speed rail, we'll help y'all with y'all infrastructure, we'll give y'all loans, we'll do all of this stuff, as long as you allow for us to continue to sell products inside of your country without additional tariffs. And what's happened is they've destroyed the economies, the neighborhoods, the rich cities of a lot of the places that they're doing business with. If you look at a lot of these other countries, China is destroying this is why y'all need to educate yourself. Y'all don't realize that the only reason we've been able to survive is because we've been strong enough and we're the biggest consumer market, which means that we generate the most revenue and we spend the most on products outside of the United States of America than any other country in the world. And so we've been able to survive because other markets are invested in our dollar. Other markets have a vested interest in making sure that we stay propped up because we've been helping everybody else and haven't been helping ourselves. There are plenty. I'm going to get the article because I was reading it on Apple News yesterday. There are plenty of markets that are suffering. They are suffering. Neighborhoods, jobs, whole neighborhoods, whole cities are being decimated because Chinese are pushing their products into their country at a cheaper rate for their consumers to buy. And it's basically eliminated entire markets inside of these countries because China has figured out how to do it cheaper. And then they bribe their governments to give it over, which is basically what's been happening in the United States of America. And then it completely decimates the economy altogether. And the leaders are going for it. And the leaders are going for it. And y'all want that to continue to happen here. It's been happening for decades. And that's why y'all keep complaining that y'all can't find no jobs. Why do you think that China continues to invest in Africa? Why do you think that China is continuing to try to bolster relationships with India? Why do you think that China is partnering with more African nations than ever before? Why do you think that they're giving so much money over to Africa? You think that they like Africans? They don't like them. They're doing it because they're leveraging it in order to take all of their minerals, their resources. They taking advantage of all of the consumers and selling the products for cheaper. And then they're giving them loans and infrastructure that they know that they're going to default on so that Chinese can then own the entire country and the entire nation. Yes, they're colonizing. Economically, they are colonizing other countries. And you want it to happen here because you're not aware of what happened historically. You're not aware of what's happening on a worldwide stage. You're not familiar what's happened with international relations. Don't you realize that they are destroying nations, nation by nation by nation by nation by nation? When Doug Ford is talking and saying that, yo, we need to bolster American relations, and why they're taking a more measured approach and not just reacting immediately and saying, well, we're going to do a tariff against y'all too, is because they fighting other nations on top of it. China don't care nothing about China. They don't care about anything except for China. They're not doing something for another nation. They don't care about what's happening in the United States of America. They're being subsidized by the government so that they can then take advantage of the worldwide market to make their own selves rich. They don't care about us, but you stand with them, you idiots.
Together, not just economically, we share the same values. we're so integrated.
Of course, there's been ongoing uncertainty with the escalating trade war. What's it going to take, in your estimation, to create stability for consumers on both sides of the border?
Well, everyone wants certainty. The markets want certainty. Businesses want certainty. People want certainty in their lives. And until we sit down and give them certainty, the markets tumbled again today. Hopefully they'll
let me explain this question. I'm gonna speak on this. Millionaire Morning Show, Anton Daniels. How do you solve the problem of expensive labor and affordable products because local production equals higher costs? It doesn't. It actually doesn't. It actually lowers the cost because you have more spending power. If the dollar, do you know why black culture got one thing right that I agree with, but they haven't been able to solve it. And they say that the circulation of the American dollar, or the circulation of the dollar within the black community, leaves out almost immediately, almost within 3 to 5 hours of earning, right? And they say that within other communities, and this is on a local level, and then we're going to expand it to an international level. They say, but when you look at other communities like the Jewish community and the Arabic community, they actually have that dollar circulate more inside of their communities, which helps other people. Now, I'll give you an example, right? I build houses. I can build cheaper houses by hiring immigrants, illegal migrants, to come and do a lot of the work that's inside of my business. Now, if that happens, I benefit, but I don't pass any of that cost. I don't pass any additional blessings onto anybody else that's around me, because the guy that does decks, that is friends with, their daughter, and my daughter is friends inside of Taekwondo, he don't benefit. So what happens is it drives down the market or the value of the homes that's in that particular area, because he can't afford to keep his home. And so he loses it. And I get to swallow that up because I'm basically becoming Dormammu, right? I don't know if y'all have ever watched the Marvel series, or you've watched Doctor Strange, where he basically negotiated with Dormammu. But me circulating that dollar, right? I get a small savings that I then don't pass over to the consumer, but I save that in my own pocket, and I continue to enrich myself by taking advantage of people that surround me. However, I don't lose any money, because the people that are around me are the ones that can then afford to rent my homes, or to buy my homes, or to do business with me. So what I choose to do is I pay a livable wage, or I pay the right amount of money to the people that surround me. I take a little bit less. And what happens is you pass that savings on to the consumer, while at the same time bolstering your economy. So everybody then benefits, because you have more spending power. When the people around you can also benefit because they can spend more money, that means that they spend more money with you, or they spend more money with their neighbor. The costs don't come down for the products that you buy. When automakers started to ship jobs overseas through the North American Free Trade Agreement, right? When automakers ship jobs, they didn't lower the cost of cars. They increased the profits for their shareholders. They didn't create more jobs for American consumers, which ultimately they ate their own, because they had to compete in the marketplace where they sold less cars. And what happened is, over a period of time, they had to raise the prices to meet the expectations of trying to still appease those shareholders. When automakers had American workers making those products, what happened is it drove more profits, because we were able to buy more cars. So now automakers have to sell less cars at a higher profit to still meet the expectations of shareholders. When you keep the dollar circulating within your own community, you don't have to raise prices. These companies didn't pass the savings on to you. They just got fatter and bigger. If you want to get true parity, right? If you really want to get it to the point to where we all benefit, Democrats think that you need to tax people so that so that legislators can take your money and do whatever it is, and they give them handouts. That's not how you do it. What you do is you can lower the cost of living by expanding the buying power of all of the people that surround you, because everybody participates when we then keep the dollar circulating in our own communities. If you get money and he get money, but I take a little bit less, but I can sell more products because everybody is making money, it's not about lower prices. It's about spending power. The companies don't pass that savings on to the consumers. They keep it in their own pockets. If you truly want parity, if you really want to understand how the market and the economy works, all you got to do is open up your own business. When the people can't afford your products because nobody has jobs, how does that benefit you? But if the dollar is circulating to where everybody is sharing in the community, then we all benefit. When they ship those jobs overseas, it did not lower the price of the goods for you guys. It did not lower what it was that it was going to cost you. It just cost you more over a period of time because nobody could afford the products. If everybody getting money, then everybody can participate in the economy. But if nobody have jobs, what do you think is going to happen? We killing ourselves by giving it to other people. The cost of houses don't go down because people are building them cheaper. It creates an economy where the people that own the houses that are selling them are the ones that's taking all of the money. The cost of housing is not going down. When they go and they in the real estate market, okay? And I hate that I have to teach it from this lens, but let me help you to understand something. In the real estate game, because lumber is cheaper or because you're using illegal migrants to build your homes, it doesn't lower the cost of housing. It increases the profits for the person that's building a house. When you evaluate how much you're going to sell a house for, or when they evaluate how much they're going to charge you for property taxes, they do it based off of the comps in the area, the comparables. What did the other houses sell for? Do you understand what I'm saying now? You don't lower the cost because it's not passed on to the consumer. If it costs me less to build the house, I don't sell my house for cheaper. I sell it based off of how much I can expand on my profits because I have expectations to meet for my shareholders. They don't pass the cost on to you. When they tax the people over in California more, because Californians pay more taxes than anybody else inside of the nation, how come they don't have cheaper housing? Why is the cost of a home in California still crazy, even though you guys are being taxed more and you have an economy where you don't really make anything and everything is service-based? Then you create a tourist economy. Then you have to make it attractive for other people to visit because you don't actually sustain anything within your own environment. I don't like it when large casinos go to small towns. The reason why I don't like it when large casinos open up in small towns is because they eat their own and then they move the profits out to whoever own the casinos out of town. When you don't allow for people to participate in the success of the economy, all you do is you depend on people that come from out of town in order to spend money. That's why there are certain places that if the tourism industry goes away, they suffer. Florida doesn't have a real industry. That's why they're trying to innovate and start to become the new Wall Street of the South. They're trying to get into cryptocurrency. Because when the tourism industry suffers in Florida, Florida collapses. It's the same thing that happens in Nevada. Nevada is a tourism industry because they don't make anything. So they have to depend on people flying in from out of town and all over the world in order for them to sustain because they don't have anything that they make. They don't have anything that they actually generate within Nevada. I'm trying to teach you from a C student's perspective in a very basic way why when you subsidize other people to come in and sell you cheap products, it does not result in you having a better lifestyle or a better economy or a better neighborhood or a better school system. Any of that. It does not work that way. The only way that it works is you keep the American dollar circulating within Americans and in your own city and in your own state and in your own community. That's the only way that you can build up. The only way. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel. Tap into the Patreon. I'm trying to teach you something. Tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. When I win as a content creator, guess what? Molly wins, Quentin wins, Slammy wins, Island Girl Q wins, anybody that, because we are all participating in our own success. We have a vested interest to see each other become successful. When I look to hire for a job, I go straight to the bag chasers. When I'm looking to invest in a business, where do I go? Straight to the bag chasers, because we are our own economy. We are all benefiting each other, and we're all sharing in the success of what happens when we support each other. This is why it's so difficult for Black people to come together, because they eat their own and they're looking for somebody to save them. Nobody can save you. You have to do what's best for you. You have to save yourself. Pick up your own trash, clean up your own communities, make sure that you call the police, support your own constituents, understand what's going on, make sure that you build up your own businesses. When y'all see these big box retailers, y'all let them destroy y'all economies, y'all let them destroy y'all cities, y'all let them destroy all of these things. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be able to do it because they're American companies, but guess what? Amazon benefited Seattle because they headquartered in Seattle. But when you require for them to meet certain expectations, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't be able to open up businesses in your town, in your city, to where it couldn't be beneficial, but you have to ask the questions, which is one of the reasons why you need to get involved in your districts, in your state, and in your economies, because you do want them to come in, but you want them to come in understanding that they have to meet the expectations of how they're going to build the community and benefit the people in the community first. The money has to circulate in here multiple different times, 5 different times before it goes back out to Seattle. Otherwise, all they're doing is taking profits from your community. When they had the butcher and he had a meat shop, and they had the bread guy and he was making bread, and the pastry person and the vegetable lady, and this was all back in the day. You didn't even need cars. You know why? Because people spent money in their own community. The butcher guy benefited, the vegetable girl benefited, the bread guy, the pastry guy, all of these people. The banker was local to the community. Everybody was getting money because the money was circulating 20 times before it ever left and went somewhere else. And somebody took a vacation and said, I want to spend some money over where you at. Everything was booming. The towns died the minute that we started letting other people come in and subsidize your community and thought that you was doing well. One person had to be won over. One person. You know what? You know what? This is good. So then the legislators come in and they sell it to the people that this is going to be good for the community. The community don't even know that they're giving away their own children's jobs. It's a reason why don't nobody want to take over the business of their parents anymore. I'm telling you the truth. You were better when you were interdependent on each other instead of dependent on outside resources. We're better as Americans and dependent on people outside of the United States of America. I ain't going to talk too much about it. I done went on too long on this subject. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. It's like I can't get y'all off the Democrat plantation. What is it that I have to do to help you to realize that you're destroying yourselves and that we need to change the way that we think and the way that we do things? It's going to be a longer live stream. We're going to go at least for a whole another hour. I ain't got nothing better to do than to teach, preach, and give you the game. I ain't got nothing better to do than to teach, preach, and give you the game. When are you going to realize that you're eating yourselves and they letting you destroy you? They give you pennies and they eat off this table and they give you the scraps off of their table and you think that you're benefiting because you get a cheap product that's going to break in 2 weeks. We prop up entire countries, entire cities. They build up their whole cities in other countries off of our spending power. And we talking about, when you going to wake up and say, you know what? We should keep more money in our community. We should make sure that we take care of Americans first. We should have more jobs here. We should tax people. Listen, y'all don't even want rappers and singers to come in y'all town. Y'all say this is a no-fly. In Detroit, I remember we said this is a no-fly zone because people are coming in, taking money out the community and won't even give anything back to the schools. They don't speak to the students. They don't talk about nothing. They don't bring none of the artists that's local on stage in order to perform as the opening acts. They said this is a no-fly zone. Can't nobody do business in here unless you giving back to the community or you putting somebody else on and so on and so forth. Now, it's misguided a little bit, right? But the whole idea and the premise of it made sense because it's like you coming in and taking all of this money back to your own community and you ain't giving nothing. You ain't showing no love. You ain't putting no artists on or nothing. So we can get mad at that, but then we going to get mad at Trump, right? We can support that, but then we going to get mad at Trump for saying, okay, listen, we going to put Americans first. And anybody that want to do business in here, either you're going to have to pay to come or you're going to have to build jobs in the community to sell to the people that you're taking money from. Why is that so hard to understand? Let me read some of the super chats. We're gonna move on to the next thing. Stephanie M says, so are you expecting the stock market to crash? I'm not. I'm expecting for me to be able to get things at a discount and take advantage of it so we can get richer. Shout out to Jason Green. I appreciate you for holding me down. Texas Grown says, 80, we subsidize farmers billions for cheese to keep them upright, and that cheese gets buried in the cave because so much is produced and the price would tank. That's the same thing that we do with diamonds. Diamonds are not rare. It's not a commodity, right? Gold is actually more profitable. If you buy a chain, I'm not against y'all buying jewelry, but if you buy a chain, then you should buy it all gold. Don't put no diamonds in it. If you buy a watch, keep it the same, right? Because the gold is actually more valuable because it's a rare commodity. It's much more valuable. Diamonds are not rare. The only rarity that comes along with it is the fact that they keep on, and now that they actually making moissanite diamonds and they can do lab-grown diamonds, is much different and it's even cheaper. But basically, diamonds have never been cheap. The only thing that keeps its price as it is that we give the perception that is rare because they bury the diamonds and they don't release as many into the market because that's what keeps the price artificially higher than it's supposed to be. 100%. You are 100% right. We cooking today, right? We getting there today. Mass Irrigation says, I think all Republican news announcement theme song to the feminine and sassy Democrat Party should be whoop that trick, get them. Michaela Lowe says, Lindsay, just hold on. Before I read some more of these super chats, I'm going to take my time and cook today. Are y'all not sending this to your friends and family? Listen, I don't care what news network you watch locally, internationally. I don't care who it is that y'all think is better. That's bull. Ain't nobody talking a real talk. Ain't nobody breaking it down like this. Ain't nobody giving it to you from a C student's perspective. And nobody is just being authentic and talking without talking points from somebody else objectively. There is nothing and nobody better than the Millionaire Morning Show. There's more than 4,000 people watching this on YouTube right now. If you have not subscribed, if you're not sending this to your family and friends, if you're not a part of the Bag Chasers and the Patreon, the link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat, then you are doing yourself and your kids and your family members a disservice. Even if you don't like me, you can't say that we're not getting to it. The information is real. We may be on two different political spectrums, but you can't say that we not cooking over here and this is not the best show on the internet. I'm comfortable today. This chair for some reason is giving me a whole nother. Even if they don't like me, send it to them. Even if they don't like me, send it to them. Shout out to Michaela, says Lindsay just wanted them to crash out and incite rage because her soror got badly beat in the election. Why are you even concerned with how he feels instead of how your people benefit? D. Shane, facts. David Simpson Jr. says, anyone else know the shine bomb Mexican president has been quiet, yet Canada continues to run to the cameras. Someone knows how to play the game. Mr. Lott says, China is Bishop from Juice. He is. Shout out to Pac. Rest in peace, Pac. Wolves eat wolves when wolves don't eat. You got to feed your people. John Phillips says, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Son of the Sun says, look at Cali. We have millions of illegals building houses, yet our houses are still the most expensive in the country. That's my point. That's my point. California has more illegal migrants than any place in the country, yet the houses are incredibly high. Why aren't the savings being passed over to the consumers? If you can answer that question, then you can answer why we need tariffs. If you can answer that question, then you can answer why the community don't circulate the dollar inside of their own community. You are 100% right, Son of the Sun. Absolutely, 100%. Red Cup says this is why Louisiana voters just lost out with 50. Facts. Shout out to my girl Mika. You're going to see her on the live stream tonight. Son of the Sun says all of the money the manufacturers save by hiring illegal immigrants, we still don't see any of the savings in the prices. Sean Huff 76 says keep dropping gems, AD. Daniel R. Smith says facts. I bought a 1920 Singer sewing machine, American made, and it still works. Buy a Chinese plastic machine and it breaks down faster. You can't consume in a produce. You can't consume and not produce and stay rich. I'll give you another clue. Do you know that certain products are being made to break after a certain amount of time so that you can buy a new one? Michaela Lowe says Chinese circulate 21 days and they killing the game. Killing the game. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notification. And let's keep it moving. All right. So let's move away from Canada for a second. Let's move away from tariffs. And Kamala Harris popped back out. I couldn't believe it when I seen it myself. And so she was on a Zoom call and she was actually celebrating a thing that was worse for the Wisconsin voters, for the Louisiana voters. But in addition to that, a new book from an aide and a staffer says that Barack Obama was not even really for Kamala Harris and knew that she would lose the whole time. But we're going to get into it. Again, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. This is a small clip from Kamala Harris popping out and giving her opinion and her perspective on what happened during these last, mid-season elections that people had going on. All right, so check this out.
There is an unelected billionaire who should not and will not have a greater voice than the working people of Wisconsin. You all are working on behalf of an individual, a candidate in Judge Crawford, who will always fight to protect your freedoms and your rights, including your right to organize and advocate for fair wages and working conditions that are safe, and who will protect your right to make decisions about your own body without government interference. You all are just extraordinary. You love our country. You care. You are making such extraordinary sacrifices on behalf of so many people, on behalf of communities, on behalf of people you may never meet. And I just say thank you.
So Kamala Harris is now popping out and she's becoming more visible. Yes, she looks high. Yes, she still talks like she's off that good. You know what I'm saying? She do look like she takes Xannies. I couldn't tell you or nothing like that. But yes, she is popping out and she is now being more visible and getting involved in politics. I believe that she's personally going to find herself running for governor of California, and that's where she's going to find her way. But yes, she is popping out, still looking crazy. But that wasn't the bigger story with regard to Kamala Harris, all right? I believe that the bigger story was this. Recently, a staffer is writing a book saying The Wildest Battle for the White House, Inside the Wildest Battle for the White House by Jonathan Allen. And they are breaking down the fact that Barack Obama was actually against Kamala Harris and nobody thought that she could win, but yet they still put $1.5 billion behind her. And for what reason, we don't know. Check this out.
Something that really jumps out here is that Barack Obama didn't think that Joe Biden should continue, and he initially didn't think Kamala Harris should replace him. Jonathan, tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. And just to point out, I think everyone there on set features in this book. Jonathan Lemire features prominently. Reverend Sharpton does. Joe, you and Mika do. Except Willie. I'm sorry. Sorry, Willie. We love you.
I'll shoot for your next book. 2028. What are you writing about? I'm going to work myself into the story.
That means he's the underscore source.
You're lucky.
No, that's he's the leaker. It's like you look at all the words.
Okay, let me look at what it says.
He just outed me.
Well done, Rev. That's right. I was reading one book one time, I think it was The Commanders. And everybody, Colin Powell wasn't mentioned in the book, and he was the main commander. Colin Powell wrote that book.
There we go.
So, Jonathan, you just told us, Willie helped write this book. Go ahead.
Yep. So President Obama absolutely did not think that Joe Biden should continue, according to our sources close to President Obama. And he also didn't want Kamala Harris to be the replacement for Biden. He didn't think that she was the best choice for Democrats. And he worked really behind the scenes for a long time to try to have a mini primary or an open convention or mini primary leading to an open convention. Did not have faith in her ability to win the election. So, and as it turned out, she didn't win, but he was really working against her. In one moment, he had set up a phone call with Congressman Clyburn from South Carolina on the day that Joe Biden handed off the baton to Kamala Harris. And Obama had set up a call with Clyburn for like 5:30 that afternoon. And Clyburn thought to himself, this guy's going to try to rope me into the open convention thing. I better get my endorsement of Harris out there fast so that this is a short conversation. So that's and when Harris talked to Obama on the day that Biden handed off to her, Obama was unwilling to give his endorsement then.
I remember because I did a live stream and I was breaking it down and I was saying that, isn't it funny how Obama and Michelle Obama, and they were being criticized by AOC, they were being criticized by all of the Democrats, they was being criticized by Nancy Pelosi, and that Obama did not initially, for a long time, it was at least a week, Obama did not initially give Kamala Harris an endorsement for president of the United States of America. I don't know if y'all remember that. Obama did not immediately endorse Kamala Harris. When she did that little phone call, that little promo where it was like she was talking on the phone, that wasn't really, you know what I'm saying? That was all set up. That was not Obama and Obama administration and Kamala Harris and all of that stuff. That was not any of that. You called that too? I called it. The one thing that Obama, let me tell you something. I believe personally that Obama is the Democrat Party. Even to this day, I believe that he has been the one pulling the strings since 2008. Wins, losses, what happens, all of this stuff. I believe that Obama is the one that was pulling the strings while Biden was in office the entire time. That's my own personal belief. I don't have any proof. This is just my instincts talking. I believe that Obama is the one that has been controlling the White House the entire time that Biden was there. Because you're not going to tell me that Biden was coherent enough or he had the mindset or that Obama and all of that stuff. I believe that that's also why Michelle Obama is so upset still. Even though Obama left the White House, in 2016, he was in the White House 8 to 12, 12 to 16. But Michelle Obama still be talking big stuff. She's still on her podcast. She had this saying on the podcast where she was saying that, man, listen, bro. Listen. Obama has been president, and maybe this is also one of the reasons why Trump feel like he could run for president for a third time. I'm just talking out of my butt right now. Call me crazy, okay? Obama has been president for 3 terms, in my opinion. 3 terms. Like him, love him, hate him, rock with him, or whatever. 3 terms, in my opinion. And when he paraded Joe Biden out, right, and then eventually Joe Biden conceded because of Nancy Pelosi visiting him when he allegedly got COVID, and he was over at Camp David. And then automatically Kamala Harris became the endorsement, and all of these Democrats hurry up and endorsed her. It was because they were voting against Obama, in my opinion. I don't think that Democrats love Obama as much as we think that they do, but he is the one that has been controlling everything. And then when he said that Kamala Harris, and they should have listened to him if they wanted to win, not that he was best for America, but if they really wanted to win, because I think that Trump was going to wipe out anybody anyway. If they wanted to win, they should have listened to him because Kamala Harris never had a chance. And Obama was the only Democrat that said it, that even hinted at it, that reserved his endorsement, and they got on him. Jasmine Crockett and them got on him. AOC got on him. All of those people got on him. It was no way that she ever had a chance of winning. And Obama correctly called it. And he said, listen, we need to have a little mini primary. We need to have a little conversation. We need to sit back for a minute instead of jumping out there. And they threw all of this money behind Kamala Harris, and they spent all of this money, and they ran their campaign into the ground. And then they went back and they regretted it. But in reality, I believe that he was the one that was right all the time as far as whether or not they even had a chance at winning that president of the United States of America.
Well, Amy, we always look back in retrospect and think things were a certain way, just because it's the way the media at the time defined it. I remember after Biden's shockingly bad presidential debate, that's when the history books were starting, you could just see that was going to be the reason why he was pushed out of the race and he was doing badly. But I remember talking to a reporter 3 days before the before the debate, and we were talking about how Biden was starting to fall behind in Minnesota, that Virginia was getting really tight, uncomfortably tight, and Democrats were afraid Biden would even lose New Hampshire. These Democratic states were starting to go, sort of even. And we both said to each other, the funny thing is, like, no matter how Biden does in this debate, people are going to blame the debate for the way the polls are already breaking before the debate, right?
Yeah, exactly, Joe. And that's exactly why his advisors felt the need to jump in and kind of switch up the narrative. They knew they were looking at polling. He was looking at polling, and they knew that he was losing. And so they needed to do something, even though there was an advisor, Anita Dunn, who was against it at first. Nancy Pelosi went to Biden and said, you don't need to debate him. Why would you sink to Trump's level and debate him? So there were people who didn't want to debate him. And then, of course, they felt the need to. So there he was. But, we take you inside the book. And what's fascinating is that none of these leaders are gathered together. We have Nancy Pelosi sitting in her living room alone watching. We have Jim Clyburn, who John just mentioned, sitting alone, having a drink. And meanwhile, as the debate is unfolding, their phones are blowing up. And that is when everything unfolds and unravels from there, and the 24 days continue.
So, yes, a new book is coming out talking about a battle for the White House that exposes what was really going on behind the scenes. Of course, you're going to have Democrats and people acting like they didn't know what was going on. There's a lot of people that still believes that Kamala Harris should be president of the United States of America. I don't know what kind of crack that they smoking on, but we need some of that. And because maybe that'll help me go to sleep at night. You sleep more than 8 hours a night. But in a nutshell, basically, Kamala Harris is starting to pop out so that she can get a little bit more visibility. She's riding the waves of things that she did not endorse. So think about it like this. This is the new playbook for Kamala Harris. She pops out after the results are there to thank the people and act like she has some kind of backing in what was going on. When you see what happened in Wisconsin, she only speaking about the win. She never endorsed her prior to the actual victory of the Supreme Court judge over in Wisconsin, right? When you see what happens in Louisiana, she pops out and she says, and to the people of Louisiana, I knew that you guys can do it. The reality is that she's now taking a different strategic approach after a huge loss, because I believe that she's taking into consideration what she wants her political future to be, and she's trying to endear herself to the people, but she's not doing it in the same way that the AOC, the Jasmine Crockett, and the Bernie Sanders is doing. She's not going on tour, but I do think that, in my opinion, I think that she's going to run for governor of California. Let's continue to This connection over here is a mess, bro. Let me read some of these super chats now. Let's see. AR says California houses illegal immigrants built poorly made and overpriced. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. Don Gorgon says, trying to purchase a property and wanted to know if you're willing to be the lender on it, earning yourself a return. Where's this property at? Send me an email. I want to talk about that. Tony Golden says, if you watch the Lindy Lee interview, she co-signs that Kamala wasn't liked and that Jill Biden ran the White House and more nasty them dealings. Got a little bit of a delay over here. I tried showing them their stuff. They never finished the videos. Keep cooking, AD. Christopher Mayberry says, dude look like a real life Peter Griffin. Shout out to Christopher Mayberry. Slimmy says, it's AD Can Man, the American live from the land of their Mexicans. What up, gang? But I think the second Biden was more coherent, original though. After hours tonight, starting early. # body double. Shout out to my dog Slimmy in the building. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Oh, AD been cooking. AD been cooking. AD is definitely cooking. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get into the next part of the show. I want to share a video. I want to share a video with you guys. All right. Nah, we're not gonna do that. I want to share a video. What's going over in Minnesota? Okay. So over in Minnesota, is my Wi-Fi still that bad? Let me double check and see if I can get some better Wi-Fi. Am I back yet? All right. So let's see if we can get back in here real quick. All right. So, anyways, let's continue on with the show. So, Tim Walz, ladies. All right, let's see if we can get a more stable connection now. Okay, give me a second. I had to switch over back to the MiFi really quickly. Tim Walz, ladies and gentlemen, is now under fire for some of the decisions that he's made as far as making sure that he had the people come back into the office. All right, so let me share this with you guys really quickly. Well, hold on, let me do this real quick. Give me a second. I'm gonna share it with you guys. Screen, Tim Walz. All right, so this is what's going on with Tim Walz. We back now. Sorry, I'm in another country. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel with turn on your notifications. Let's get to it.
This is the right time. We're seeing it across both the private and the public sector.
New tonight, Governor Tim Walz's order that state workers return to the office is infuriating the unions that represent those employees.
They say they're appalled and disgusted over his decision to force workers to come back to the office for half their work week. We have live team coverage on this tonight. So Young Kim is looking at the potential impact on St. Paul businesses. But we begin with Fox 9's Mike Manzoni, who's live at the state capitol tonight. And Mike, it's fair to say the unions, as we now know, are not happy about this.
Yeah, Randy and Kelsey, one union president called it, and I'm quoting here, a unilateral move by a bad boss. That bad boss they're referring to, of course, is Governor Tim Walz. Now, the governor's order requires all employees to return to the office at least 50% of the time. That order takes effect on June 1st. There is an exemption, though, for anyone who works more than 75 miles away from their office. The governor says more than 60% of state workers are already back in person full time. Here's how he defended his decision earlier today.
We lose most of our people in the first 6 months, and I'm pretty convinced it's because they don't get into the culture. They don't get the mentorship you would normally get in a work environment.
Wait a minute. So wait a minute. When Republicans or when Trump or when Elon Musk was going through with the Department of Government Efficiency, and they said that people were supposed to be back into the office, y'all sat there and y'all got mad about it. Y'all protested. The Democrats were angry about it. When Trump said that government workers should come back into the office, it was a Republican agenda. It was a right versus left issue. Now, Tim Walz, who is, you can't get too much more liberal than Tim Walz as the governor of Minnesota. The guy put tampons in men's bathrooms, okay? Good God. They call him Tampon Tim. Tampon Tim says we need to have people back into the office because it is better for the culture. You're going to be a better worker. You're going to be more productive and all of that. So now I want to see some of the same people, all of the people that come on this platform and they say, Anton, no, it's wrong. All of this and so on and so forth. I want to see the same energy from y'all that say that it is wrong still. Tell me that you don't support these liberal policies of that you should be coming back into the office. I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see the same energy against Tim Walz that you guys had for every other conservative that said that it is time to come back to the office because people are more productive. You need to immerse yourself in the culture and you need to be a better employee. I want to see it. Don't protest against him.
Into the culture, they don't get the mentorship you would normally get in a work environment.
And the two unions that represent nearly 40,000 state workers impacted by this put out statements within the last 24 hours or so, slamming the governor. They say they were basically blindsided by this. And at least one union says they are willing, if necessary, to take this to court.
We are mostly upset because there was no attempt by the governor or his agencies to engage with us at all. But there are not dedicated cubicles or offices anymore like there used to be pre-pandemic. So I don't know how they're going to do it.
And another union president chimed in, writing in part, quote, the administration's decision to impose sweeping workplace policy changes without engaging our union and labor partners first is not just unacceptable, it's an act of blatant disrespect.
How novel for you as an employer, and this is why you can't ever give in to the woke mob. How novel is it of you to say, if you work here, then you need to come into the office? Now, remember, all of these people were not working from home prior to the pandemic. They got used to it. They said that we never coming back. They went and bought homes in different places. And so all of a sudden now, they deserve it. Now it's a requirement. And this is why you can never, ever let them sleep. Never let them sleep. Never let them get comfortable. Never let them think that they're entitled to it. Now, all of a sudden, they are required. Here, I'm gonna spin the block real quick. I want to show y'all something. These are the actual people that are protesting. I had to bring this up because they didn't even have this on YouTube. These are the people that are actually protesting and what they're saying. Okay.
Governor on Tuesday issued an order to his agency commissioners to change the telework policy to require everybody to be back in the office 50% of the time by June 1st. And we've been working from home. We have flexible schedules. We've been doing our work more productively since the pandemic, so for the last 5 years. And as far as we can tell, he didn't include anybody in that decision-making, not legislators, not agency commissioners, not the unions, nobody.
He just kind of pulled this out of the blue. We were promised that we were going to be working from home for forever.
Who the hell in their right mind would ever promise somebody that they're going to be working from home forever? I personally have never heard that before. Who in their right mind, in their rabid bright mind, would ever promise people that they would be able to have work from home forever? That don't even sound right. That don't even sound like it makes sense. He promised us as government employees that we will be able to work from home forever. You see how they turned on you, Tampon Timmy? Do you see how they turned on you, Tampon Timmy? That you will be able to work from home forever? Forever, ever? This is why we think that government employees are lazy. This is why we think that they're lazy. Crazy. Somebody dropped my email for Don in the chat.
Some of us have health issues that we have to deal with in addition to taking care of our kids.
This is to make a lot of people's lives a lot more complicated and stressful than it really needs to be. Speaking like for the rest of our coworkers as well as families, there's just a huge shortage of childcare in Minnesota, and beyond that, it's very expensive. As a union, we just want to be treated with respect, and we just want to have a seat at the table for big decisions being made that are going to affect our day-to-day lives.
It is a lose-lose situation for everybody. It is not going to benefit the downtown St. Paul. It is not going to benefit collaboration. All it's going to do is waste money, make us less productive. It's going to be chaos. Our buildings right now literally cannot handle bringing everybody back.
What a novel idea. So everybody comes to work, and it actually would benefit the businesses, the environment, the culture. It would force you to actually do your job, and you got to be accountable to people. And they're telling you, as your employer, imagine that you, the employer, and your employees tell you what they ain't gonna do because they know that it's not gonna be best for you. You still got to pay them though. You still have to pay them, but they're gonna tell you that they're gonna be less productive if they decide to come back into the office.
It's going to harm, the ability for us to get before work and after
And
work.
they was doing this during work hours, just to let y'all know. During work hours, they were out there protesting and beating on drums and marching in a whole group to stop Tampon Timmy from bringing him back into the office.
Childcare, it's going to increase the childcare wait lines. It's going to cost taxpayers millions upon millions of dollars. The impacts to state services, the productivity, the lack of efficiency, it's going to result in worse government all around. So my reaction was, probably the same as, tens of thousands of state workers. Why?
I think what we've heard from the governor and from the mayor of St. Paul is that they are worried about downtown St. Paul, the economy in downtown St. Paul. And our members are very clear that's not part of their job description. We also know that those businesses have closed not because of decreased revenue, but because they can't find the employees to work in those jobs.
Are these people literally crazy? So now they know what small businesses are doing. Small businesses close not because of revenue, not because the economy, not because they don't have any customers, not because people don't come downtown no more. They close because they just couldn't find the right employees to be able to work there anymore. So they close up their whole businesses. They hundreds of thousands of dollars that they invested, the millions of dollars that they invested in creating these businesses. They closed because they couldn't find the right workers. You see why I don't listen to liberals? You see why I don't listen to people no more? You see why I don't even take them into consideration when I'm making a decision or I decide to have these live streams or I'm having conversations with you guys? I can't. How can I? They don't make sense. They're not even logical. And the union is rolling right along with it. They rocking with it.
And one other quick note here, the state auditor's office is not impacted by this. That's because that office is separate from the ones under control by the governor. We're live in St. Paul tonight. Mike Manzoni, Fox 9.
State employees returning to the office is welcome news for businesses in the capital city.
They hope this will boost daytime foot traffic into their stores again. Fox 9 So Young Kim joins.
So the businesses do want you back into the office. Okay.
Joins us in St. Paul tonight. And So Young, you spoke with many businesses and organizations downtown, and they've really been through a lot.
Yeah, they have. And they tell me it's been tough these past few years for businesses that rely on lunch service for workers in the area. They say June 1st can't come soon enough.
From their famous spaghetti and meatballs to pizza. Your Russo Brothers on Payne Avenue in St. Paul is a family-owned restaurant that's been serving authentic Italian food to the community for nearly a century.
We've been here since 1933.
But what's been missing for the past several years since the pandemic are lunchtime customers during the work week.
It's a challenge getting activity during the daytime.
So wait a minute. This flies in the face of what this woman just said when she gave her own expertise as a government worker.
So even in St. Paul is that they are worried about downtown St. Paul, the economy in downtown St. Paul. And our members are very clear that's not part of their job description. We also know that those businesses have closed not because of decreased revenue, but because they can't find the employees to work in those jobs.
That's not what the businesses are saying. The businesses are saying something different.
There's a lot of people are still working at home.
So stores and businesses in the capital city say the announcement that most Minnesota state employees will be back in the office more frequently is great news.
I can't wait just to grab a couple customers, during the daytime.
Governor Tim Walz says he hopes this helps support economic vitality in the area.
I think you'll see more of that energy back downtown.
Joe Spencer, president of the St. Paul Downtown Alliance, says the additional foot traffic is exactly what the area needs.
We've got thousands of people who are going to be coming to buy lunch, buy coffee, have breakfast.
The team at Yarusso's says they'll be ready to welcome back the 9 to 5 crowd.
The sauce is hot and the meatballs are fresh, and we're ready to rock and roll.
So get your monkey behind back into the office. And now that we're starting to get back to common sense, so where, listen, I'm not against the fact that people want to work from home at all. If your employer says that that's what's best for the company, then that's what's best for the company. But you are not the one that determines whether or not it's best for the company. You are a worker. Get your monkey behind the work, take care of business, or quit the job so that we can minimize the amount of money that we spend on government, and then we can get the right people in the positions. But you are not the one that's going to determine what's best for the company, what's best for the business, what's best for downtown. And this is the first time in my life, I can't believe that I'm saying it, this is the first time in my life that I am agreeing with Tim Walz. Who'd have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notification. I'm feeling comfortable. It's the chair. It is the chair. I'm about to order this chair for the Millionaire Morning Show inside of the studio. You on that Pookie Wi-Fi? Facts. This is why I love America. This is why I love America. Marcus Boston says, AD, trust your personal, try using your personal mobile hotspot. That's what I'm on now. That's literally what I'm on now. You can see it in the top. See it right there? Had to switch over. Maybe that will be a better network connection. We'll see. We'll see how it's going. Manuel AG says, never knew how entitled federal workers were before Trump came into office. Don says, we'll do what's your email. We put that in the chat. AR says, be fruitful to multiply. Buy at your own expense, not your employer. Zach says, I guess states didn't learn from the feds. Daily Discourse with Arturo says, how can going back into the office cost taxpayers millions? It doesn't. It doesn't. People just lazy and they want to sit at home and chill and all of that stuff. And so it doesn't necessarily translate into that. This is a part that I was looking forward to. I was going to do this on the Anton Daniels channel, but I'm going to do it here with you guys prior to after hours. And I might even include this because I might want to get my friends in on this conversation. I think I am. This will be a part of one of the subjects we talk about on after hours. I don't know if y'all familiar with YouTuber No Jumper. No Jumper with Adam 22. Adam 22 is the guy that let a man bust down his chick on OF. Now starting a little bit familiar. Bust down his wife. He has been embroiled with a lot of the different fights that happen on his platform. A lot of people has left him, different employees and all of this stuff, but he's got more involved with gang culture and stuff like that. Well, he says that No Jumper, the YouTube channel, is going broke. He says that it's going broke. He didn't say that he's broke, but he says that it's going broke. And I thought that this would be a good conversation to have from a content creator's perspective. So I'm going to share what he says, and then we're going to break it down, and let's have this conversation.
So there's something that I've been hiding from you guys. No Jumper is going broke. I know that might sound crazy. Between both of our YouTube channels last month, we got over 25 million views. We're doing well on Facebook and Snapchat. We employ quite a few of the hottest content creators on the West Coast, and we pump out an insane amount of content on a weekly basis. How could we be going broke? Well, let's start here. We expanded too much during COVID at just about the exact moment that our revenue streams all took a hit. We hired a whole bunch of editors and other employees, and we bought a huge office building that cost us almost $4 million, thinking that the growth that we were experiencing during the pandemic was going to continue. And unfortunately, that did not happen. Our YouTube numbers, which had doubled or even tripled, gradually returned to normal. Our Snapchat and Facebook numbers, which had exploded during COVID, sometimes even hitting 6 figures a month, shrank by about 80% or more.
I will say that during the pandemic, and this is why you got to get ready, or you got to be ready so you don't always have to get ready. Content creators, if you had any movement, if you had any motion, if you was putting out decent content, then that was our I don't want to say Y2K. That was kind of our AI moment. That was our come to Jesus moment, right? If you had been a content creator that had been doing halfway decent, and you had been pumping out good content, and you was consistent at that particular time, and you caught the wave. Now, a lot of us, we all try to get on the wave afterwards or whatever. But if you weren't recognized and everybody was back home, boy, you was going to catch the wave back then. That's when Kevin Samuels took off. That's when a lot of content creators that I knew took off. I caught a wave. I was a part of another network that then caught a wave. So if you were a content creator at that time, you were going to catch a wave. Now, what you did after that was going to determine whether or not you were going to get richer, or if you were going to go broke, if you were going to be successful, or if you was just a part of a wave where people was looking for content because they didn't have anything better to do. I will tell you that most of the people that caught a little bit of a bump or caught a wave, they're not able to sustain it. They may still be around. They may stream here and there. They never evolved. They never capitalized off of it. They never became better content creators. They never used the money and invested back into themselves. They didn't do any of that. They didn't do any of it. Most people, I will say 90%, maybe more, made bad business decisions, or they're no longer here. Bad business decisions. I know people that had to go back and get jobs and all of that stuff. For me in particular, I have been very blessed because I have been very intentional on continuing to cultivate and navigate through this culture, because nothing is guaranteed and nobody is required to continue to watch you. So let's continue to hear what you got to say and why they're going broke.
Our Patreon, which was absolutely killing it for a year or two when we were doing uncensored, aka nude interviews with up-and-coming superstars like Kazumi and Sky Bree, fell off quite a bit with the launch of Plug Talk and a decreased interest in seeing us interview stars. In addition to that, you might recall that the channel took quite a hit when approximately 8 of our hosts left the platform in March of 2023. Although we've definitely largely recovered and managed to build up a very healthy roster of talent since then, that certainly took a toll on our business for a while as well. All that stuff hurt the business, but we were still solidly profitable. That is, until the last few months, where we experienced 2 major L's that we never could have seen coming. First, we lost the No Jumper Instagram. After almost 10 years of building it up and essentially no strikes on our account, we got taken down one day, and we still have absolutely no idea why. We've had no luck getting it back, despite being in contact with what seems like every Instagram recovery guy on the face of the planet. We were bringing in a very solid amount of cash monthly that was keeping us afloat via selling sponsored posts on the account, and that mostly vanished overnight. And while we've been growing the new No Jumper LA account up ever since and managing to sell sponsored collab posts using my Instagram and the No Jumper LA account, DM or email if interested, we aren't making anywhere near as much from Instagram now. Side note, if you're a Meta rep, please DM me. I would love to speak to anyone who could help with this. And second, in addition to that, we have been hit with a bullshit lawsuit from a former employee. Now, essentially everything in this lawsuit is completely fictional, and every lawyer that I've spoken to about it has described this as basically an extortion attempt, but it's still cost us a ton of money already, and it's expected to cost us many hundreds of thousands of dollars to see this through to completion. It's insane to me that a person that we did so much for can just invent some grievances out of thin air and cost us this much money as a result. This person has literally lost every single friend that he used to have when he worked at No Jumper. His streaming career has completely tanked, and he even got kicked off the podcast that he left No Jumper to start. But somehow that's our reality, and we have to fight this rather than just give in to this piece of shit. So as a result of all these circumstances, we are making some changes. Over the last few months, we laid off multiple employees in an attempt to reduce our expenses as much as possible. We closed down our store on Melrose, and we're in the early stages of selling our current warehouse and moving into a smaller space. To be honest, aside from the layoffs, which sucked, I'm pretty happy about a lot of these changes. I've realized that I should have paid more attention to DJ Vlad and kept my overhead as low as possible, particularly in terms of staff and location. I'm confident that once we get the building sold, we'd be in a pretty solid financial position again as a business. Oh, and I also just want to note that I am talking about No Jumper as a business. I've got another business in the form of Plug Talk, and I've got a pretty decent investment portfolio on a personal level. I mean, shit, I'm not $2 million in debt, and I never had to file for bankruptcy like T-Rail. But I honestly spend pretty much all of my time trying to create as much content as possible with No Jumper, and I can't really justify doing so unless the fundamentals of the business make sense. It was a big decision.
Wait a minute. So again, and I tell people this all the time, and I've recently started a new series inside of the Bag Chasers in a Patreon where I break down everything from a content creation perspective, and it is about the business side of it. A lot of people don't look at it from a business perspective. They think that you just jump on here and live stream, or you create content or whatever, or it's about subscribers or all of that stuff. Listen, it's about profitability, revenue, right? Gross revenue versus outgoing expenses, which then translate into what? Whatever your profit is. And a Patreon, you know that I have literally practically no overhead. Zero. I'm not affected by the ebbs and the flows. And also, I am more consistent, and we do more than 25% growth every single year as a company, and every single company that's a part of my portfolio. And I break down how people can continue to monetize, because you can look at these people and you can say, well, they get all of these views every single month, but they're losing revenue every single year because they don't understand how to look at things from a business perspective. They don't know how to look at things from a business perspective. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs, it's going to be boom times or whatever. You don't switch up, you don't change, you grow the business, according to whatever is happening at that particular time, at that economic wave. No, Adam 22 is a bad businessman. He put out a great product from a views perspective. I'm not the target audience because I don't think that it's a good product for me, but he put out a decent product that caught a wave at that particular time. But A, he couldn't sustain it. B, he didn't have the right people around him. C, he doesn't know how to vet and hire the right people. D, he doesn't run his platform to where it's profitable. Now, his own personal expenses is completely different. I'm not talking about his personal expenses, but there are a lot of people that don't really understand the business side of it and cannot capitalize off of it. They have been subsidized by the fact that they got really, really popular and they made a lot of money at that particular time, but being able to sustain it is the true wave. That is the true talent. A lot of people catch a viral moment. It is a ton of people on a regular basis. I'd rather get the slow money and build up 20 to 25% every single year, making sure that I look at everything from a business perspective versus just catching a wave, because I'm telling you, I've seen people come and I've seen them go. I've seen people with a lot of subscribers get demonetized and I've seen them go. I've seen a lot of people that hired a lot of people and then they had to downsize and lay everybody off. I've seen people have to look. I've seen it over and over and over and over again. And I'm telling you, content creation is the same as a regular business. It's the same as marriage. Everything has to be looked at from a business perspective first. If you do not understand how to run a business in corporate America, if you don't understand how to run a small business, you are not going to be as successful as a content creator. I'm telling you. I mean, you could do okay, but you're not going to be able to sustain it, and you're not going to be able, it's going to be ebbs and flows. You're going to have to lay people off and all of that stuff. Thank God I've never been in a position in my life to where I've ever had to lay anybody off, ever. And it's because I am very careful and very meticulous and very, very intentional about how to look at it from a business perspective. Real talk. Somebody said, let's talk tariffs in the market. Boy, you just not getting into the live stream. We covered that first.
To share this stuff with you guys, but at a certain point, I realized that I've been honest with the world about just about everything in my life over the years, and it felt wrong to keep all this stuff that we've been dealing with in secret. So I know what you're thinking. What can you do to help? Well, I do have some ideas, which I'll sort into 3 categories here: free, cheap, and generous. Free. Obviously, I'm infinitely thankful to anyone who watches our content at all.
Somebody says, you think so, Anton? I'm not sure he started off killing it. I think he scaled up too fast. I think that No Jumper was killing it. Absolutely. Listen, if you can ever get to the point to where you're doing 25 million views a month, now I know that all views are not created equal, depending on the type of content that you have. Also, I believe that a lot of those views also came as a result of shorts. So a bunch of people blew up off of shorts, but that didn't translate into more revenue. Listen, I never gave a flying F about shorts because it didn't translate into revenue. If the shorts didn't translate into more people watching long form content, then it didn't matter how many people subscribe to the platform. The only thing that mattered is if you can translate that into real revenue. The biggest lies, the biggest finesse is a subscriber count. I'm telling you. And you are talking to a person that I show my numbers on the Patreon. I show my revenue that I generate. I show what my 1040s are, or I'm sorry, my 1099s are at the end of the year. Listen, it's not, and I'm not going to give you all the Patreon game because I did that in the last live stream. If you want to see that, you can go watch for yourself. It's in the Patreon. It's not all created equal. The shorts game was cute, but if it doesn't translate into money, then why would I do it? I'm not going to spend an additional amount of energy instead of focusing on creating better quality product that has a longer shelf life and can sustain an audience, because your audience, once they discover that you don't have any real substance to your long form content, that it don't make no difference. You got them in there. Do you got anything for them? Okay, cool. It's like having a sale, right? Having a sale as a business owner is the equivalent of selling your product at a loss, right? We call those loss leaders inside of the industry and retail and all of that. These are loss leaders. These are the things that they use to get you in the door. Walmart, for example, sells more groceries than any other company inside of the United States of America. But Walmart is not profitable largely off of groceries. Groceries are some of the lowest margins in the world. That's why when Kamala Harris was talking about, oh, we're going to put price gouging against groceries, don't really make no money. If you look at Kroger, if you look at their stock market, if you look at exactly how they profit versus the revenue that they take in, groceries are very, 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 very small margin. And you better not have a bunch of theft inside of the store or you're going to be inside of the negative. But Walmart often at times don't care about the groceries. They care about using it as a loss leader to get you in the store to browse. And then maybe you buy some Stadias, or maybe you buy some Check Foods, some shoes. And maybe you go over to the electronic department. Maybe you buy some candles. Maybe you buy some higher margin things that would then be able to translate into people, you know what I'm saying, you get being more profitable. That's how I looked at shorts. When shorts first started coming on YouTube, I was like, let me look at this for a second. I studied the game. I looked at it and I was like, you know what? I dropped a couple shorts. A couple of them went viral. One of them went viral from this channel. I think I did like 1.7 million views on one where I had a guy cut his hair. Matter of fact, let me see if I can bring it up. I might even be able to bring it up for you guys. Studio, switch the account, Anton. That's a whole video. It was like a short though. It may not even been on this channel. Content, shorts. Oh, here it is. All right, I'm gonna pull it up for you guys. I'll show you the analytics right now. I have no problems. So this short in particular, right, did 2.3 million views. Let me share it with you guys really quickly. I'll give you all of the insight because I am transparent. I have no problem with that whatsoever. So this was a short that did 2.3 million views, okay? 2.3 million views. It did $286 in revenue. Now, it got me 9.3 or almost 10,000 new subscribers, but it didn't necessarily translate into more money, and it didn't translate into anything that was real tangible. Now, you got to remember, most people don't do 2.3 million views on a short. It's just the facts, right? And this is over a sustained period of time. Now, a lot of people will look at it and they say, well, that's a lot of money. It's not a lot of money because the amount of effort, the only reason that I use it as a short was because I repurposed content that was already created. So I already did the live stream or whatever, but I didn't go through and I didn't create that specifically for that. It was just a part of whatever it is that I had going on, right? But think about it. People spend a whole bunch of money. Now, 2.3 million views on a clip, not even a short form content, but let's just say a clip. 2.3 million views, I will tell you, probably for me, depending on what platform that I release it on and how long it is and how long the retention rate is, because again, all money is not created equal. I would say that would generate me at least somewhere between $25,000 and $30,000. I'll break it down inside of the Patreon. That clip, a clip and a real, like the real effort, it should translate into tens and tens of thousands of dollars. I'm just telling you. $286, that's not worth the effort. Now, if you're doing it in concerted effort with everything that's going on, but what I'm trying to tell you is that it doesn't necessarily translate. And just because the people get a whole lot of views on something doesn't mean that it makes sense for you to spend your time doing it, because you got to remember, you have a certain amount of time in a day. You have 24 hours of time in a day. What am I going to spend the majority of my time generating revenue on? Well, you say it helped with visibility. That's only, Tasha, that's only if the people then stayed long enough or they started watching your other content. Because just because you get a subscriber, there's plenty of people that got a whole lot of subscribers. They can't get 500-600 people. I seen people with a million subscribers plus, they can't get 500 people inside of a live stream. And 500 people is a lot of people. I don't care what kind of platform you got. 500 people is a lot of people. But when people are not checking for your content, what difference does it make? If you can't translate it into something that is sustainable, that is going to help you from a business perspective, what's the point? I don't want subscribers just for the fact of having a subscriber. I want it to actually result in people, you know what I'm saying, looking at the content and wanting to engage. That's why I say, well, I don't want to say too much more. Let me continue to go into, I want to hear the rest of this Adam 22 situation.
Follows us on the @NoJumperLA Instagram, and in particular, those of you who drop likes and comments on our videos and Instagram posts. In the long run, that stuff is super helpful. Cheap. We are really trying to get serious about embracing our members here on YouTube. For $5 a month, we've got a ton of awesome benefits, including being able to watch all of our interviews free of censorship and bleeped words before they're released to the public.
Everybody
members only chat.
It's a lot of people that make a lot of money. I'm sorry, it's a lot of people that got a lot of subscribers, or they may do some views. They not eating. It's a lot of these people, they just surviving. You know why a lot of people are on this application? First of all, let me say this. YouTube is the hardest platform to be able to be successful at, but it is the best platform as far as, you know what I'm saying? If you know how to work it, if you figure it out, it's the best platform from a monetization. YouTube and then Snapchat. Okay? YouTube and then Snapchat. People are doing it for the numbers. They don't understand it from a business perspective. Everything I do from it, people will say, Anton, you one of the only content creators. Think about it. I'm one of the only content creators that have over 100,000 subscribers, over 50,000 subscribers. On the Anton Daniels channel, I think I got over 550,000 subscribers. On this channel, it's like 334 or something like that. After Hours is 71. We recently crossed over the 50,000 mark. Thank you to everybody that support Darth Anton. We crossed over the 50,000 mark on the Darth Anton channel. Think about it from this situation. They say, Anton, you are lying. How am I lying? I show all of my receipts inside of the page. Anyways, don't worry about that. I don't turn on memberships on any of my channels. I don't turn on memberships on any channel. Anton, you could make way more money. My YouTube rep keep calling me, man, why don't you turn on memberships? Why don't you turn on memberships? Because I think that it's a bad business decision. And why would I double dip when all of the information that you would get in the membership, I already put it on Patreon. So if you look at my Patreon, for example, right? I actually have over 15, it should be over 16,000 Patreon members now. 15,730 Patreon members. 15,730 Patreon members. Now, over the last 30 days, I got 1,100 new members. Why would I not give the information to the people that's been rocking with me for a long time? All money ain't good money for me. You see what I'm saying? All money is not good money. I don't want that small money just to try to get every dime and nickel and dime people. I want to give people value for them rocking with me. I want to give value to the people that are truly trying to level up and be successful. So it's not about always just monetizing every single way that you can monetize. It's about making sure that you look at everything from the business perspective. I'm not going to turn on memberships because I already rock out with people on the bag chasers. And so I'm going to give all of the information to the bag chasers because them the ones that's been rocking out with me for a long time. But everybody is just doing anything just because it's the new way. Well, I'm going to jump on it. No, that's how you're going to go ahead and cannibalize yourself, and you're going to kill your audience.
For all of our live stream content, and we're just going to be prioritizing a lot of our most requested content and trying to do that live for members only. So for any of you who are down to spend $5 a month to help support the business, we're just going to try to keep adding more and more stuff to make that an easy decision for you guys who are down to support. And for those of you who have more money to spend, we're introducing a mega premium $100 tier to our memberships that will get your name added to the end of all our.
It's stealing money, bro. They just stealing the money. You're gonna get a mega membership premium, and you're gonna get your name added to all of the videos at the end. They stealing money, bro. He finessing his audience. All he doing is cannibalizing himself. Adam 22 is a person that created a great platform for content and generate views. He is not the great businessman, in my opinion. Dry begging. If you have to beg people and you can't help them to see the value of what you bring into the relationship, it's just like relationships. If you got to beg somebody to be with you, chances are you're not doing it right. But if you can't sell them on the value of how they then get more from you as a result of rocking with you this way or rocking with you that way, then it's a problem. The product should be so good to where the word of mouth should help promote it in itself. You should be able to mention it. Hey, yo, listen, we got this extra tier that's available for you guys if you want to rock out with it. If not, I feel you. Listen, just make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, tap into Patreon. Link is in the description. If you don't have a product that could then sell itself, if the people can't come back and say, hey, man, y'all need to go ahead and tap into that because it's a lot of game and I made a lot of money. All he doing is cannibalizing his own audience. We got a mega tier to get your name added to the videos. That's dry begging to me.
Our videos, and it will also get you consistent advice and opinions on your music submissions with one free submission per month and discounted additional songs. Basically, we're just trying to do as much as possible for anybody who's down to join this tier. So we're going to hype you up on our live streams and try to really give you actual professional advice about what we think that you should do with your career and everything like that. And, we're going to try to add even more value for that $100 tier as time goes by. Also, if you own or work for a brand and would like to sponsor the podcast, please reach out to josh@nojumper.com. We're also selling collab promotional posts using the NoJumper LA and Adam22 Instagram accounts. So again, if you want to hit up josh@nojumper.com, he can give you all the information about all that. So yeah, there's my update. I've been kind of thinking about telling you guys about all this stuff for a while. I'm not begging for sympathy or anything like that. I'm just being realistic about owning a media business. In this day and age, everybody knows rap is maybe not in the best place that it could possibly be. Podcasts, definitely not at the place that they were
Yeah.
in 2021 or 2022.
Yeah.
The economy in general really kind of experiencing some troubles. And really, as we've put this bill.
I hate when people blame their failures on the economy. They blame it on the industry. They blame it on this. They blame it on that. It's not. It's not. Listen, it's booming. It's more money than ever before to be made. It's more opportunities than ever before to be made. It's more revenue to be made. I show y'all inside of the Patreon my receipts. I show you what my monthly payouts are. I show you what I make by the end of the year. I show y'all that I grow at least by 25% every single year. Somebody said you deserve more, Anton. I deserve exactly what I'm getting. I'm cool. Listen, I'm fine building it one person at a time, one supporter at a time, one value add at a time, one subscriber at a time, one person that criticizes me and then loves me and then hates me or whatever at a time. I'm straight. I'm great. Whatever it is that I get, I deserve it. It's not the industry, the money not drying up, the sponsors not going away, people are not going into the office and not watching the shows as much anymore. It's none of that. It's none of that. It's your product. It's competing against other products and it's not as good, or it can't retain the people that want to watch it, and it doesn't generate revenue. It has nothing to do whatsoever with the industries. People are always going to say that. That's not true at all. Maybe he need to rebrand. Maybe he need to put out better product. Maybe he had to have a different format. Maybe he need to do something different. Whatever it is, it has nothing to do with the product. I'm cool. I'm straight. I don't want to be nobody else. I don't need to, I remember I bring this up a lot because me and the lead attorney laugh about this. But I told the lead attorney years ago, it was me, Pocket Watching with JT, and the lead attorney. And we were on a live stream together and we were talking about subscribers. And the lead attorney asked, he said, wait a minute, because I forgot how such a situation came up. Some of y'all remember it. He said, Anton, you would rather have 100,000 subscribers than 1 million subscribers? And I said, yeah. And the context I said, I'd rather have 100,000 people that truly rock with me than 1 million subscribers that's fair weather. And they laughed at me. They said I was wrong. They said they caught me capping and all of that stuff. But I just don't believe that they understood what I was saying. I would rather have 100,000 people that truly adored and rocked out with me and regularly engaged than 1 million subscribers that are fair weather that come in depending on whatever the time of the day it is. Rather get it out the mud. I'd rather be organic. I'd rather be independent. I'd rather just keep adding value with the people. I'd rather rock out with the people that rock with me. What's the point of having a whole bunch of people if they don't really truly engage with you? So I'm trying to figure out where the money is. I'm trying to figure out where the money is. I don't care about all of that other stuff. I don't care about none of that stuff. I have people tune into After Hours tonight. We have thousands of people that be on from the time that we start to the time that we end, and they engage and they come in every day and they don't wait till a big old subject pop off. No, they rock out with us because we add value and we make sure that we talk that talk and we give them that good content. We don't slack. We don't half do it. We don't just wake up and just throw something together. No, we improve on what we do every day. We have incremental progress. We add value. We consistent, and we make sure that we give people the value for their eyeballs. For whatever it is that they showing us, we make sure that we give them value for whatever it is that they rocking with us about. We don't slack. We don't trip. We don't miss, and we make sure that we add value into people's lives every single time. They was on my head for saying that, but I don't care. I don't care if people because eventually you're going to realize that I'm right. You may catch it late. You may be short-sighted. You may laugh, but I'm always going to win in the long run. Every single thing that they laugh at, eventually, over time, I am proven to be right. Every time. Oh man, Anton, you can't go out on your own. Okay. Oh man, the other network, they it's not about you, it's about everybody. Okay. No, you need all of it. Okay. No, it's about making sure that I remember when they was coming at me about the fact that I liked Trump or that I was a conservative or I was a Republican or I wouldn't say, oh man, we need reparations and, because I was actually still rocking out with Pearl and me and Pearl still talking all of that stuff, right? She just texted me like 2 days ago. I said, I'm going to be around way after all of y'all is gone off, after all of this outrage and after all of this stuff. And I even told Pearl, I said, Pearl, don't go out there and be putting yourself out there to answer to no questions. You should just keep working and stay in your own lane and stop getting involved in all of this nonsense. Don't be extra controversial. Do what you got to do and do whatever it is that you got to take care of. She didn't listen to me. All of the people who were saying that I need to make sure that I say black first. I said, I'm going to be around. Listen, after all of this, I'm going to be here. You're going to be gone. Nope. A year from now, I remember, what was it? Sarah Garvey? Remember Sarah Garvey? I said, dog, me and him had a back and forth. I said, dog, you're not that good. You wasn't good before Pearl. You're not going to be. And I was just telling him the honest to God truth. I hate to just say this. I said, you wasn't good before Pearl and people wasn't rocking with you. And just because you got a little bit of a boost because you leaving, that don't mean that you're going to be good afterwards. You don't have the work ethic. You're not good. Just because you're pro-black, everybody saying that they're going to support you. I guarantee you your product is going to be dead. I guarantee you. 2 years, 3 years from now, we're not going to be talking about you. The only reason that we even talking about you now is because I mentioned your name. You're going to be gone. I'm still going to be here. I'm going to be better than ever. I'm going to be richer than ever. You're going to be gone, and nobody's going to be checking for you. Glendon Cameron, y'all named it inside of the chat. Darius, you said it. Glendon Cameron, same thing. And I could talk like that because I know exactly what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to put out. I know that I'm going to be consistent. I know that I'm a dog, y'all. And ain't nobody can stop a wave because what God has ordained to be good, you can't stop it. And everybody came against it. And everybody was mad. And they said that I was too arrogant and all of this stuff. Okay. Where are all of these people today? Matter of fact, let me look some stuff. I'm so petty. Let me look some stuff up. I ain't gonna show it on the screen. I just want to research it and see for myself. Name don't even come up in the algorithm no more. He had just crossed 100,000 subscribers because he got that boost. What was that? 2-3 years ago? I'm gonna be petty. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen anyway. I keep score. I'm sorry. I keep score, and so I gotta know what's going on. Last live stream, he was doing it in his car. He had 3.4 thousand views 10 months ago. 10 months ago. I'm gonna share it on the screen. I gotta do it. I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta do it. Oh, Jesus. Oh, man, I'm so petty. I shouldn't be like this. I thought he was the engine and made everything go. And I'm not doing this to discourage him. I hope he get his stuff together. I hope that he, you know what I'm saying, turn out and everything goes well and everything like that. But I said it. So this was 2 years ago. He got 244,000 views as a result about this, right? 244,000 views over 2 years ago. He got the boost. That's when he crossed over 1,000 views. And now look at this shit. Dusty.
Yo, folks. Coming in. I'm away at the moment, folks. Okay, so that's why there's been no live this week. But I'm away, and I thought I'd say
they always away. They always away. That's why it ain't been no live. That's why we not live streaming no more. That's why we not getting to it. We not doing all of this stuff. You know, when I'm away at the moment, I've been trying to find myself. I've been trying to find myself. You know, I've been going through a lot. And I've been trying to figure it out. And, you know, I just been discovering myself. Over these last months, you know, I realized that God want me to do something. God want me to do something different. And, you know, oh God. No. Oh, Jesus. Lord, help me. I gotta stop. Jesus, Lord. Let me just hear a little bit more. I can't help myself.
some things that were on my mind. Okay. Now it's me thinking, just philosophizing. I think the West is done. I think the West.
Not another going back to Africa video. All right, I'm done, y'all. I'm done. Patty Daniels is done. I got work to do. Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for algorithm, subscribe to the channel. Some of y'all may not be familiar with what's going on. I'm just being petty. This is stuff that was happening over 2 years ago. You know, people was telling me what was going to happen. I just wanted to revisit it because I didn't forget what y'all said. You know, some people was saying a lot. We had a little bit of a kerfuffle. You know what I'm saying? And so I just wanted to make sure. Let me see something. Oh, Uncut. I see that you got a little bit of emotion about this. Let me revisit this, Uncut, because I see you still be here inside of the chat. Give me a second. I just want to, because I just pulled up some stuff. Uncut Underground. You had got you a little wave. You got you a little bit of a wave from this too. Remember that? See this, Uncut? Oh. Anton Daniels plays dumb about just pearly things to Sarah Garvey on the Millionaire Morning Show. Oh, yeah, boy. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. We're going to revisit everything. Don't tell me don't pull it up either. No. You
really
gave me the context behind why you were moving the way that you were moving, especially after you had the conversation with Pearl when you met up with her in person. I asked you, oh, okay, whatever. You know, why didn't you ask this about Nick Fuentes? Why didn't you go back to that conversation? And then you said, you revealed, you volunteered the information and you said, listen, I had already been finding out about the contract a month before. And so then my brain said, but wait a minute. On the video, when he was just talking, he said that he asked Pearl about other people's contracts, and that's how it is that he found out about Auntie Jenny and King Rich's. So now I'm trying to understand the timeline, and I'm asking you for additional context. How did you start going about finding about other people's contracts a month before she even offered you a contract and started having a conversation about this in the first place?
Like I said, I had been talking to people behind the scenes, and that I had been, as you let Americans, I say, I had been knowing that there was some fishy contracts going on, right? So that was information that I already had. I wasn't investigating anything. I wasn't saying, oh, you know what? Yo, tell me about the contracts. What's going on? What are you on? What are you on? That wasn't the conversation. It was a general conversation, and I had heard some stuff, right? I hadn't spoken to Pearly for
3 months.
Right.
Right. It does matter.
Speculation, because people, no, it doesn't, because people could have come and said, oh yeah, people say all types of shit when they're disgruntled employees, right? Disgruntled employees, just like a disgruntled wife, just like a disgruntled woman, will say anything behind the scenes when disgruntled. If you get the actual knowledge from the horse's mouth, then it's a fact. I like to work with the facts. I don't care about no your mean shit. They said it. Why did you I make this told me? I think this is what nation. And I make a decision based off some speculation about you. You could come to me and be like, yo, bro, that's a lie. Pearl said she was ready for war.
Do you think, but here's my question, Osara.
I don't want to hear nothing.
No, it's cool. Listen, I think that you are more than welcome to do how you want to do it. I'm not disagreeing with you, right? The question that I have though is, did you think that the gun that was going to be pulled on her was going to be behind her back and in her head?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you think that Pearl knew that the gun that was going to be pointed at her though was going to be behind her head and behind her back from the person that she thought was cool with her?
Bro, listen, it's like this. If Putin says he goes to war with America, America could drop a nuke, or America could send a spy to do him in his sleep. The bottom line is, he said he was ready for war. So how you get?
I agree.
Yeah.
I think. Listen, I think she got to put her.
Hang on. So the bottom line is, you in the face, or you're in your bed at night and someone just slips in your house and kills you in your sleep. That's war. You said you were ready for it.
Yeah, but I didn't. The thing about war though, and what you're right. I'm not disagreeing with you, Sarah. But the thing about war though is you never think that it's gonna come from your ally. You never think that it's gonna come from the person that you're close, one of the people that you're close to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I expect to go to war, and I'm willing to deal with whatever the consequences are that come along with war.
I would say this, Anton. One of the things people have to read, one of the books. If I'm working with you now, I was working with you. I never had no problem, but when I started seeing that stuff, then I had a problem, and I was like, nah, someone's got to stop that. I know you guys.
I love what it is that you got going on. I love it. I think that you're giving a lot of game, a lot of insight. I think that it's a lot of people that's learning from you, that's watching this stream and all of that other type of stuff. No, please, you got the floor. I think that your voice needs to be heard.
Like, I know a lot of people don't.
To you,
black men. So I'm gonna say to you as black man as another. Keep fucking being successful, bro.
Let me stop being petty. Anyways, again, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, Tiege Hanley. Maybe me bringing this up will put a battery in his back to where he'll get back to doing good content. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started. Some of y'all new here, so it may be a little bit different. Rodney says, was watching Saint and Sinner grill Adam earlier. Pookie's friend Ray says, Adam 22. Let me spend a few nights with his wife as well. Now he's going broke and I have to cough. I have a cough and a strange case of pink eye. Tony Walker 5 says, fellas, we're heading into the AI gold rush in the next 4 to 5 years. As a beginning web developer and in the next year or so AI developer, this is a once in a lifetime chance. Anton, keep doing your thing. Thank you to Tony. Elizabeth Williams says they gaslit folks parading Kamala off as black when she never said she was. She's South Indian. Florida Panoramic says he's going to have to put his wife to work. I mean, work. Bro, Anton Daniels, you are a child of God's blessed plan. You will always win, says Cynthia Hayes. Thank you, Cynthia. Court says, do you think this is another season to get wealthy like it was during the pandemic in general? Not just unique to social, but stocks and real estate. I think that every season is a unique opportunity to get rich, honestly. Courtney Smith says, so Adam 22 is basically going out along with DEI. Amazing. Daniel Smith says, Blue Magic sold itself. Facts. A.R. Smitty says, Young Thug might call him petty. Small White Wolf says, that is why people show you appreciation for your time. Thank you, Small White Wolf. Silver Lion says, this is just Adam 22 and No Jumper's death spiral. Falafel Bay says, been tuning in for a while now. Thank you for consistently uploading and talking about topics that others won't. Thank you. Lisa M says, thanks, AD. You are building generational wealth per your platform. Your advice is definitely positively building me up financially. MAGA. Shout out to Lisa. Red Cup says, I'm still here in my Tisha Campbell singing voice. Shout out to my girl Mika. Says, Keith Hatton told me that joke. Long Way ENT says, 80, have a chance to open up a money market account inside of my 401k. What are your thoughts on doing so? Currently, I contribute 8% in my Roth and also inside of my 401k. No, I just think that you should just stay traditional with it. Make sure that you give. I would be looking to max out every year on my Roth. I would be trying to align my finances. That's what I would be focused on. Trying to align my finances to where I can max out every single year on my Roth. That way it actually grows tax-free. You know what I'm saying? Manuel G says, Anton, a white cat would complete your evil laugh. I think I should get it. I'm about to get a white cat. I got you. Silver Lion says, not everyone in any industry is 5 stars. Narcissism is fickle lover. Diana Vreeland said it well. I loathe narcissism, but I love that, but I approve vanity. AD is the final boss of being petty. I'm not petty. I don't think I'm that petty. Adam 22, as in I saw you begging, you petty. Young Reckless says 1,000 economists had begged Hoover not to sign the Smith-Hawley Tariff Act in June 17, 1930, and it started the Great Depression. First tariffs, depression, World War III. Okay, well, if you say so. Listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off of life. I love y'all. I appreciate it. Let me make sure that there ain't nothing else that I need to read. I want to make sure that I ain't got nothing else. I don't want to forget anybody. All right, we good. All right, listen, y'all. After hours tonight, we getting it popping, and we gonna make it shake. We gonna make it shake. We gonna make it do what it do, and we in there. Let me erase these. We live streamed a little bit longer. We playing around. We having a good day. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. We got a live stream coming up this weekend. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm out. Peace.